pretty well with the NFL. He got him off to a very good start, didn't he? But he was great. But she's got those same traits. So thank you very much, Susie. Great job. Also, we're going to go to somebody that's really the rage right now. She's the youngest ever White House press secretary, Caroline Leavitt. Caroline, look at you, huh? They said, sir, she's just too young. And I said, I don't know about that. She did awfully good because she did it during the campaign and she was awfully good. And she's been amazing. She just did another one just a little while ago. She looked at Susie and looked at me. I don't know. I think I'm ready, sir. How old are you? 27, right? 27. And I said, you're not too young. And she's knocking them dead. Everyone's talking about you. Thank you very much. Great job. And we have somebody else who's like a rocket ship, the counselor to the president. She served me well. I'm going to miss her, but we'll see a lot of her anyway. I hope it's on a friendly basis because I've got to be very concerned because she's going to be the new U.S. Attorney for the District of New Jersey. Alina, where's Alina Habba? Alina Habba. Thanks, Alina. She's going to be great. I'll tell you, she's going to be great. She's a great lawyer and lives in New Jersey. And I said, that sounds like a good combination. Everybody wanted that job. They're all looking for the job. I said, wait a minute, doesn't Alina live in New Jersey? Yeah, I think Alina's going to get that job. So congratulations, Alina. It's fantastic. I'm also thrilled to say that we have more women in our cabinet than any Republican president in the history of our country. And joining us today is a woman I've known a long time. You talk about strong women. This is a strong woman. Remember, they were saying, he doesn't like strong women. That may be true, but if that's true, I'm in deep trouble because I'm surrounded. I got the strongest women. And this is a beautiful, strong, wonderful woman. Attorney General Pam Bondi. Yesterday, you know, she was talking about these guys that like burning down cars and plants and everything else. And I was watching her on television. She said, I'm going to get you. We're going to find you. And you're going to suffer. And I say, man, I don't want her after me. And, you know, it's amazing. The attacks have gone down very, very precipitously. And so Pam is fantastic. Thank you very much, Pam. Really amazing. Along with a woman who was given a very hard and difficult problem, the cost of eggs. This was the problem. The cost of eggs. Eggs were through the roof. If you got to see the Biden chart, it's like a rocket ship, and Trump is like this way. But I gave Brooke the Secretary of Agriculture, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it. She studied that in college. I didn't know that. I was going to give it to her anyway. It didn't matter that she studied, but it sort of helped, right? But she came in and she lowered the cost of eggs by almost 50% in 3 weeks. Right? Someday you're going to tell us that secret. I want to find out. But the chart looks great. It's Biden like this, and then we're like this. But we also, by the way, we lowered energy costs really like tremendously. Energy's way down. Cost of gasoline's way down. The cost of groceries, a word that I used a lot on the campaign. It's like an old-fashioned word, but it's a beautiful word, very descriptive word. And the groceries are coming down, Brooke, at a level that we're finally getting costs under control in our country. And people don't like talking about it because it's so good, it's so positive. I haven't seen one story on eggs plummeting by 50%. But someday they'll get around to writing it. Secretary of Education, she's trying to put herself out of a job. Linda, she's trying to put herself out of a job. She's moving education back to the States, and she's doing it at a rapid rate, and she's an amazing woman. I've known her also for a long time. She's been amazing. No matter where she's been successful, including with her husband building a tremendous empire. And Linda McMahon is very special. Thank you, Linda. Thank you. And it's getting praised, by the way, the concept of moving education back to the states, back to the mothers and the fathers. And you probably do it for less than half, and you're going to have great, great schools. You know, I say that in our country they have charts, and they rate the countries, various countries, and Norway and Denmark and Sweden and lots of places are rated at the top. And Finland, China's rated very high too. Tell me, that takes the big problem out, because if they can do it, that's big, so we can do it. And we're rated toward the bottom. We're at number 37, 38, 39, or 40 out of 40. So we're just about last. And yet we're first in one very nice category, cost per pupil. So obviously there's something wrong. We just have to repeat that, Linda, and everybody says, well, I guess it's time to do it. And it's been that way for a long time. And originally we had it run by home states, so we never had that kind of a problem. But it's going to be, Katie, it's going to be brought back again, and Linda's going to do it. And I just say, you know, she said, you basically want me to get out of government, don't you? I said, that's right. Do your job and get out, but I promise I'll have something else for you, okay? I promise I'll have something even better for you, all right? But you're doing a job, and we appreciate it. Also, a special man. He's got a tremendous majority. It's so easy, a majority of about one. I think he's the only man who could do the job, because everybody loves him. Everybody respects him. He's really smart. Really, he's so nice. People say, is he smart? I said, you have no idea. He's actually, you know, he's really nice because he's smart. He knows it's the only way you can live with it. Where is Mike? Mike. It's the only way you can do it. He's the nicest guy. But in actuality, he's not a nice person. He's ruthless. You haven't seen this guy when he gets angry. I'll ruin your image overnight. He is a phenomenal guy. Our great speaker, Mike Johnson. Thank you very much. I don't know. Is that good or bad for you? I'm not so sure. It's okay. He said whatever the heck you want to say is okay. First female Republican Attorney General of Iowa, and an early supporter of Trump. And where's Brenna Bird? Brenna, thank you very much. She's so popular in Iowa. She came out so early, and I appreciate it very much. That's great. Alaska Lieutenant Governor Nancy Dahlstrom. Nancy, thank you, Nancy. Thank you very much. You have a great governor too, by the way, Nancy. He's also tall. He's seriously tall. I mean, the guy's like 7'2". He is a tall guy, but he's a great governor. And I have a son who's tall like him. And Barron is very tall. They're all tall, but Barron's seriously tall, right? So anyway, say hello to him. He's a great governor. South Carolina Lieutenant Governor Pamela Evett. Where is Pamela? Thank you very much. Good job you're doing. Great job. Good. And good luck with everything. I know it's big stuff, right? Oh, good. Thank you. Well, you have a great governor. Oklahoma Agricultural Commissioner. Luck with everything. Blaine Arthur. Blaine. Thank you, Blaine. Good. Nice to see you. And so many other incredible women. I'm going to make so many enemies because I'm looking here. I know every one of them, and I'm supposed to say their names. Maybe we'll get to it. I don't know. It's a long list. For 4 long years, we had an administration that tried to abolish the very concept of womanhood and replace it with radical gender ideology. Maybe you heard something about that. They destroyed women's spaces and even tried to replace the word mother with the term birther person. A mother became a birther person. What's that all about? Then you wonder why they lost. They're trying to figure out why did they lose. I saw a congressman today for the Democrats. He was having a big fight on television early this morning, trying to make it so that really he thinks men should play in women's sports. He hasn't given that up yet. He was fighting like crazy. I said, this guy is going to lose. He's going to lose badly. The whole party is still into that. They haven't learned and we don't want them to learn, frankly. We want them to keep fighting. Let's not tell them. Under the Trump administration, we're ending the Marxist war on women, and you had a war on women, and we're protecting women's rights, defending women's dignity, and standing up for the American moms and daughters. So many are represented here, great people in this room. American women have never had bigger champions than all of us in the White House. I mean, it's me, but it's the group of men and women. We have a lot of men that are like Howard, our head of commerce, I see is here. What are you doing here, Howard? Oh, that's a good. He's got his beautiful wife here. I was saying, what's Howard doing here? It's like there aren't too many men in this audience, actually. But he's a big advocate, and we're going to be making right after this, we're going to be making a big special announcement, Howard and I and Scott and a few other people on cars. We have Liberation Day in America. That's where we take back all of this money that's been ripped off from us for so many decades, and we start a process. We're going to go with the tariffs in cars, and as you've probably been reading, it's all over the place. You've been reading and seeing and watching car companies and every other form of company. They're pouring back into our country at levels never seen before. We're up to, I guess, close, Howard, to $5 trillion of investments already, and there's never been that much for a year. We did that in a period of 6 weeks. There's never been any numbers like that. We've never seen. They're all coming. They're all coming in so they don't have to pay tariffs. It's very simple, because if you build your product in the USA, there is no tariff. On day one, I made the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. So, is there anybody, seriously, is there anybody that disagrees with that in this room? I was thinking maybe somebody from the press might raise their hand. I don't think so. There aren't too many people. You know, it's amazing. It's got to be like a 98% issue, right? So what are they doing, Marjorie? What are they doing? They're fighting for a 2% issue. That's good. Let them keep doing it. No matter how many surgeries you have or chemicals you inject, if you're born with male DNA in every cell of your body, you can never become a woman. You're not going to be a woman. And that's why last month I proudly signed a historic executive order to ban men from competing in women's sports, and it was very popular and very popular. We had a track meet, and it was so disparaging to great women athletes. I've known so many great women athletes. I gave Annika Sorenstam the Medal of Freedom here not so long ago, and these are unbelievable athletes, but it's so ridiculous. They had a track meet. And you heard me talking about long-distance track meet. The man won by 5 hours and 14 minutes and 12 seconds. And I said, this is not good. And you want to see worse? Take a look at the weightlifting records. Take a look at the boxing. Take a look at this. The whole thing is ridiculous. And frankly, it's demeaning to women. And you are superior to men, in my opinion. What do I know? You are. I see you. No, they are superior. I've known it all my life, and I'm not happy about it. I'm not happy. I also banned puberty blockers. Can you believe I'm even saying this? And the sexual mutilation of minor youth. Now, who would think, you know, let's go back 10 or 15 years. If you ever heard a statement like that, you'd say, what the hell is he even talking about, right, Brooke? What is he talking about? Puberty blockers. But that's where we are. That's where we've come, and we're ending it. We're sending it back to where it came from, oblivion, right? So in the recent election, we did fantastically well with women. I kept hearing, women don't like them. I said, I think they do. You know, fake polls don't like me. That's who don't like me. But we're setting records in so many of these cases, and I was for women. I was for the women, the suburban housewife, where I stopped low-income housing projects from being built at a house next to you, where people were being decimated. Their houses were being literally ripped up and destroyed. And I stopped it, and we've stopped it again. We had to stop it again. I stopped it first term. We had a great first term, a really successful first term. We had the largest increase in stock market value, 88% increase in the history of our country. We gave you the biggest tax cuts. We gave you the biggest regulation cuts. We rebuilt our military. We gave too much of it away to Afghanistan, this character. He gave billions and billions of dollars of it away to Afghanistan. And maybe we'll have to ask for that back, although it's getting a little old now. They're getting a little old. We're building new stuff. But I will say that it was such an honor working with so many great women. I've worked with women all my life. I've always been ahead on that subject. I had women in my construction business putting up skyscrapers in New York 30 years ago, 35 years ago, long before it was in vogue. and they were phenomenal. Every one of them was phenomenal. My administration listens to America's moms, and that's why I recently created the Presidential Commission to make America healthy again, and that's really caught on. That's really caught on. And Bobby Kennedy, by the way, is doing a great job. He was. I think it's going to go down as another great choice. And we just don't want to treat the chronic disease crisis. We want to prevent our children from getting sick in the first place. And there are so many things that we are doing wrong. Something happened. If you go back 20 years, autism. Think of it. 1 in 20,000 children. Think of that. 1. Autism. You see it all over. 1 in 20,000 children. Now it's 1 in 36 children. Now, what the hell is that all about? There's something out there, and we got to find it. But can you imagine 1 in 20,000, and now it's 1 in 36. Not 36,000. 1 in 36 children. And I see it. I see it all the time. And so there's something out there, and we're going to find it. We're doing something really wrong, and it might be very simple to even correct, but we're looking very hard, and Bobby's looking very hard, and we're going to figure it out. And to further support our nation's mothers, I've signed an executive order to expand access to fertility treatments like IVF. That's Katie. Katie. Where's Katie? Katie called your great senator from Alabama. She called, and she was like in a little bit of angst, right? She said, "Sir, we just had a ruling from an Alabama judge who said you couldn't have the clinics IVF." And I was in my plane, and she said, "It's terrible, it's terrible. Friends of mine are virtually attacking me," and said, because they're not really, people don't talk about it necessarily. Why should they? But Katie called me up. She did such a great job. And she said, "Sir, you have to get on this right away. It's terrible. They're going to close up all the clinics." They ordered all the clinics closed. And I said, "So, Katie, give me a quick definition, please. Educate me in a minute or less." And she did. And I came out totally in favor of what all of these women wanted. And it became our issue. We actually took it away, Mike, from the Democrats. They were late to the party, and it was really, I give you a lot of credit, so thank you very much. Thank you, Katie. Great job. And I also signed an executive order to begin abolishing the Department of Education, as we said, but also to go back and do things with our school children that just hasn't been done in many, many years. But the basic is reading, writing, and arithmetic, and we want to make sure that they teach English, okay? But I think we're not going to have a problem. And you're going to see things happen, I think, on the education front like nobody can believe. It's very exciting. Very exciting. And so many of the states like Iowa and Idaho and Indiana. By the way, unrelated, but Indiana, they just signed Honda, one of the biggest auto plants in the world, is going. Honda, big company, would have never come here except for, let's say, the election. I like to say the election result, but let's give tariffs a little. Well, without the election result, you wouldn't have the tariffs, right? So I guess it's all about the election, Marjorie. But one of the biggest anywhere in the world. They're building in Indiana, big plant, and we have many of them going up. Many plants in other countries have stopped. They've stopped construction. One of them right in the middle of construction. They just signed a contract. They're going to build it here instead. So you're going to see that at record. Just remember I told you so in 12 months from now. But on day one, we're ending the inflation nightmare that Joe Biden created and caused, but just by his spending. Two things, his spending, but I think more important, he destroyed our energy policy. And energy started going up, gasoline, any form of energy went through the roof. And then what he did to get it down a little bit, he went back to the Trump policy. Everything, let him drill, let him. They were very, very concerned. And it was too late because that jackrabbit had gotten out of the nest. And it was too late. They really screwed us up in so many ways. How about allowing millions and millions of people to come into our country? Open borders. People from all over the world, not South America, but all over the world. They came in from Africa, from Asia, from all over the world, from prisons. The prisons were emptied into our country. I call them prisons and jails, prison being a slightly tougher term, but the prisons and jails were emptied into our country. The mental institutions and insane asylum, same thing. Insane asylum is mental institution on steroids, right? I used to say Dr. Hannibal Lecter, the great Dr. Hannibal Lecter is in a hotel room near you. And the fake news back there, a lot of fake news here, by the way. Fake news would say, why does he keep mentioning Hannibal Lecter? I said, you know why? Because we just won an election. We got a lot of votes because of Hannibal Lecter. We don't want to have Hannibal Lecter in our country. So we watched what was happening to destroy our country. And a woman, by the way, the head of Homeland, Christie is doing a great job. Kristi Noem. She's doing a great job. She's getting them out. And Tom Homan. But Tom Homan and Kristi Noem, they're doing an unbelievable job. She's tough. She might be tougher than Tom. Is that pretty tough, right? I'd say Tom is central casting, but he says, I think she might be tougher than me. So we needed that because she's dealing with a rough group of people. Millions and millions of people. 21 million people came in, but of that, at least 3 million are serious, serious criminals. Many of them are murderers, 11,088. And of that number, about half have murdered more than one person. This is not going to end well. So we're getting them out in record numbers, and we're having a lot of problems with the courts because the courts want to pretend they're president, and they're not president. They didn't get 80 million votes, and they're not. They can't do that to this country. That's not their job. But we're getting them out in record numbers, and it's going to save a lot of lives. We got some really bad people in this country, but you see the ones we're taking out. Trendy Aragua, the toughest of all gangs, MS-13. And we're getting them out. So in just 2 months, core inflation has dropped to its lowest pace in 4 years. We've got it going down. The groceries I told you about, and energy of all kinds, gasoline, that's fallen below now $3. For $3 for the first time in years since I was there, it's fallen below $3. We're going to get it down quite a bit lower. That's going to bring prices still further down, and people are going to be able to buy their groceries again, and so important. And again, I want to just congratulate you, Brooke. What a job you've done over there with the eggs. I was in office for 1 week, and I got this one article was so bad that Donald Trump has caused a massive egg problem. And I said, this is, and they showed it. It's like, terrible. But it was during his term that it went up, right? And but they were hammering me. They thought they had us until I put you in that position. And I don't know what the hell magic wand you use. And now they don't talk about it anymore. It's terrible. Well, we'll talk. We have to talk about it, If they don't talk about it, we talk about it. Right, Brooke? But what a job you've done. Now we need Congress to pass the largest tax cuts in American history, and Mike is going to get that. And I think we can finally say one big, beautiful bill, because everybody's there. I spoke with John Thune, is doing a terrific job also, and the senators, and we want one big, beautiful bill. Just put it all in that bill, and we'll figure a way to have it passed, right? We'll figure a way. But it'll be the largest tax cuts in American history. When you add that onto the fact that if they don't pass this, you will have the largest tax increase by far, because the tax increase that I passed 5 years ago, the biggest in history, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts, what happens is that jumps back to where they used to be. So if you add that onto the other normal tax increases that the Democrats want to give, this would be the largest tax increase in history by 58% or more, I guess, but 58%. And I don't know how anybody can vote for a Democrat, but I know one thing, that I believe the Democrats are going to be forced to help vote for this bill. And then we have the very important continuation of debt. I don't call it a debt increase because we're not looking to increase. We want to just continue that line, and we should call it, I think, from now on, Mike, we're going to call it the continuation, because that's what it is. That was thrown into our lap unnecessarily, but we have it, and it's fine that we have it. But I think we're going to get tremendous support even from Democrats, because otherwise they're voting for the biggest tax increase in history by far, by, I think, 38 points. And I don't think they're going to want to do that. So, Mike, I hear you're doing great on it. And we're going to have tremendous tremendous goodies in the bag for women, too. The women, between the fertilization and all of the other things that we're talking about, it's going to be great. We're joined today, fertilization. I'm still very proud of it. I don't care. I'll be known as the fertilization president, and that's okay. That's not bad. That's not bad. I've been called much worse. Actually, I like it, right? I like it. Thank you. We're joined today by many of the women members of the House and Senate who make up so much and make this all happen. And I especially want to recognize the leaders of the brand new Republican Women's Caucus, Senator Katie Britt. Again, Katie, thank you. Thank you, Katie. Great job you do. And Representative Kat Kamek, who just announced a new baby girl. That's good. I also want to say driving force behind the effort to create a Women's History Museum, with working very much with some of the women in this room. I'm not sure if it's been discussed specifically, but to create a women's museum on the National Mall. And we have a great site. I'm very good at real estate, you know. We have a great site. And Nicole Meliatakis is here someplace. Where's Nicole? And she is really working hard on this one. This is a passion for you, and you're working. It's a big, beautiful. She said it's going to be a big, beautiful museum. Well, it has to be. If it's for women, it better be big and beautiful, or we're in trouble, right? But we're working on that. Also here, I just have this list, and they're incredible people, so I have to do it. Otherwise, I'll be run out of town. I don't have the courage not to do it. Senator Marsha Blackburn. Marsha, thank you very much. So incredible. Unbelievable talent. Senator Joni Ernst. Joni Ernst. Where's Joni? Hi, Joni. I owe you a call. I'll call you. Okay? Deb Fisher just won a great race, Nebraska. Thank you, Deb. Great race, Deb. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. Oh, we love Cindy Hyde. Thank you, Cindy Hyde. She said, sir, could you do a rally for me? I said, yeah, I'll do a rally for you. I get this. Sir, could you do 2 more for me? I did. We did 3, and we blew him out, right? It was an Obama sycophant. We blew him out of the water, right, Cindy Hyde? So thank you. And Senator Ashley Moody. Congratulations. Where is Ashley? Congratulations, Ashley. Also, Representative, and this one is tough. She's tough. Lisa McClain. She's tough and good. She's a good one. She's a real leader. Thank you. Great job, Lisa. Representative Stephanie Bice. Thank you very much. Thank you. Where's Stephanie? Sherry Biggs. Hi. Hi, Sherry. Good. Lauren Boebert. Great people. Monica De La Cruz. Monica De La Cruz. Hi, Monica. Good job. Julie Fedorchak. Fedorchak. Hi, Julie. Great. Nice to see you. A person that is more experienced than anybody, and she's still a young woman, very young, Virginia Fox. Virginia. What a good woman, right, Mike? A quiet woman, but she, underneath that quiet facade, she's a tiger. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Highly respected woman, I tell you. Thanks, Marjorie. Great woman. Diana Harshbarger. Diana Harshbarger. Where are you, Diana? Thank you. Thank you. Good job with your son, too. Thank you. Ashley Hinton. Ashley. Thank you. Thanks, Ashley. Good. Good job. Erin Houchin. Thank you, Erin. Thank you very much. Laurel Lee. Laurel, thank you. Good. Good job. Julia Letlow. Good. Nice seeing you, Julia. She's done a great job. Anna Paulina Luna. Anna. Good. Nice to see you. Another quiet one, Nancy Mace. Hi, Nancy. Great job. And Nicole, I said hello to you and your museum, and you get that going, and we're going to back it 100%. Unless the women here would rather not have a... Is anybody not in favor of a women's museum in this room, please? It's okay. I could see some. Maybe they want to save a couple of bucks, right? No takers. Okay. You're all set. You have it then, I guess. I sort of thought that was going to happen. Celeste Malloy. Celeste, thank you. Great job. Great job. Carol Miller, great election. Thank you, Carol. Great job, Carol. A friend of mine, a beautiful person, a beautiful family. It's like she's got children. They're all supermodels, male and female. Handsome husband. Carol, Mary Miller. Mary. How's it going? Okay, good. Mary Miller's a really spectacular person and a great congresswoman. Thank you very much. 22nd grandchild. Look at her. It's one of the most beautiful families. It really is. Starting with you, it's just a beautiful family. So you have a long way to go, Kat. Come on, you have to get going. Marionette Miller Meeks. Great election you had. Great election. Great job. Oh, Maria Salazar. Where is Maria? She is strong. She is a tough one. But they love her. We all love her. Thank you. Another one who's really good. I got to know her very well along with Mike. We were having some talks, and she really knows what she's talking about. She was right 100%. Victoria Spartz. Thank you, Victoria. Thank you very much. And Beth Van Dyne, who's fabulous. Hi, Beth. Thank you. Thank you very much. It's such a great group of people. And there's others in there. I'm going to get killed. I know. You're for me and I'm for you. That's true. Can you imagine there are others? I'm sitting and looking at others. I'm going to be in trouble. That's the problem. When you do that, you leave a couple of them out. They never speak to you again. They never. Now we need Congress to pass the largest tax cuts, and we are going to get that done. And we're joined today by so many people that are just so great. And we are going to have a little bit of a celebration after this is finished in one of the outer rooms. They have some stuff for the women. Much better. We did this for men. And, you know, it's very unexciting having a day for men. I stood up here. It was like I reduced the speech from 10 pages to about 2 paragraphs. It was boring. It was boring as hell to tell you. Throughout our history, strong, tough, visionary women have defended our flag, strengthened our communities, explored new frontiers, and expanded the American dream for all of our children and all of our people. Now, patriotic American women like those in this room are helping lead our nation into the golden age of America. And that's what we're calling it. This is the golden age of America. We want to do things that nobody thought were possible. You know, had I done it the more traditional way, which I actually did, but we won't talk about that. But had it been the, 4 + 4 as opposed to floor 4, let's see how bad they do, and then we get another 4 at numbers too big to rig, we call it. We have to go out too big to rig. They tried, but it was too big to rig. Had we done it that way, it wouldn't have been nearly as important or nearly as historic. It's much more historic. It's a much more important presidency. And frankly, because of how bad they were, we're able to do things that we could have never done if it were traditional. I don't think, Marjorie, we would have ever been able to have done the things we are doing now. You see what we're doing with the colleges, and they're all bending and saying, sir, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And nobody can believe it, including law firms that have been so horrible, law firms that nobody would believe, and they're just saying, where do I sign? Where do I sign? Nobody can believe it, and there's more coming. But we really are in the golden age of America, and I think you're going to see it more and more as we go along. Together, we're beginning our country's greatest era, and we're building a future that will be stronger, safer, healthier, and happier than ever before. And you're really going to be the leaders. I think you're going to be the dominant leaders, and you have a lot of them in this room politically, but just the fact that you're here and the fact that you're with us is so important. There's nothing like strong, beautiful, wonderful women. You have the heart, you have the whole spirit, You're amazing people, and it's an honor to be with you, and we're going to work together, and we're going to make this the greatest age in the history of our country. Thank you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you. Thank you very much, everybody.
All right, well, that's President Trump there. I'm playing some polka music. Something. Either way, nice little speech President Trump gave. Got a full house. Look at all the blondes. President Trump brings on the blondes. All right, hooligans, we're going to read through the schedule really quick, and then we'll go ahead and get into things. Let's see here. We're going to be getting started with a video titled Vladimir Zelensky reacts to news that Russia agreed to the Black Sea ceasefire. They're extending their ceasefire. Maybe they'll even come to an agreement of peace. Time will tell. Then we got a video titled AOC confronted on Tesla attacks and gives a ridiculous answer. AOC obviously encouraging her supporters and viewers to behave like idiots and then just plays dumb about it. Then we got a video titled Video shows federal agents detaining Tufts student. I don't know what Tufts is, but this individual was picked up off the street. They're trying to act like they don't know why this is happening. They also claim they don't know where they are. They were basically kidnapped by ICE. Chances are it's another radical student, just like Mahmoud Khalil. Then we got a Jim Jordan video titled Judges Move to Block Trump's Agenda in Historic Pace. House Vows Action. Jim Jordan being interviewed and talking about fighting against these radical judges that are resisting the Trump agenda. Then we got an Alina Habba video. Go let get some no. This is titled Alina Habba calls signal leak a distraction, saying, I frankly have never read The Atlantic. This is still big news about this goofy chat thing. Then we got MTG video titled Marjorie Taylor Greene explodes at PBS exec over drag queen on children's program. This is part of the reasons why they're getting rid of public broadcasting stuff. They're going to end federal funding for it, or at least they're talking about ending it. It's like $500 million or something we spend in tax dollars every year to keep this biased news around. Then we got a video titled White House could freeze $27.5 million doll hairs in family planning grants. Now, this money goes to companies like Planned Parenthood, and they're about to lose all their funding. Then, for the last little bit of the news, it's titled Supreme Court upholds federal regulations on ghost gun kits. Apparently, they're going to start cracking down on these ghost guns, and they claim that they're just trying to regulate them like regular firearms, but we'll see how that goes. Then we'll be getting into our fun stuff of the day. We'll be opening today's door from the advent calendar that was sent to us by Wad. And then we got two funny videos of the day. First one's titled Death by Insults. And our official funny video of the day is titled Small Lives Matter. Let's go ahead and get into everything since we're already warmed up with President Trump. We're going to get in this first video. It's titled Vladimir Zelensky reacts to news that Russia agreed to Black Sea ceasefire. Give me a second here to get this pulled up. I think Brave browser is having an issue with YouTube. I think that's why these videos are buffering the way they are. Come on, you piece of shit. Do the thing. It's so annoying. Okay, anyways. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you, hooligans, really quick, we have these Golden Age t-shirts. Now, this design was created by Alistair, and Alistair is a badass in just about everything he does. So I will be posting his link in the chat for you hooligans to have the opportunity to hire him for your creative needs. Because if you think it, he can create it. Now, this design does come in shirts for men, shirts for women, tank tops for men, tank tops for women, pullover hoodies, zipper hoodies, coffee mugs, stickers, dog tags. We even made cooking aprons out of this design since we're coming up to summer. Today I got on the Bars and Stars hooligan badge. We got lots of items over at the merch store. I'll be dropping the links in the chats while we're watching this first video.
First of all, what did we agree on? That there can be silence at sea and free navigation. The second point is not to strike at the energy system, the entire energy network of Ukraine and Russia. The third point is control and monitoring. We've agreed with the American side that we can involve third parties in addition to America. The fourth point proposed by the American side is that everyone will work to have a sustainable peace as a result. And the fifth point, why two statements? Because the fifth point differs between our document with the American side and the Russian-American agreements. This was not in the agenda before the meeting. The fifth point of our agreement is that America will help us with the return of children, prisoners of war, military and civilian prisoners, and the Russians will have what they have agreed with them.
All right, real short video there with Vladimir Zelensky, still crying like a little bitch. But that's okay. As long as him and Putin decide to start playing nice with each other, I guess that's all we really care about. They should talk about us a lot, considering we're not really involved in the war. We're just funding it. Either way, next up we have AOC confronted on Tesla attacks, gives a ridiculous answer in response when asked about if her constituents are being riled up by the kind of violent rhetoric that they always do when they do these Democrat rallies. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat and see what you hooligans think about this extension of the ceasefire between Ukraine and Russia. So next, Tufts is a university. That's what I was kind of thinking. I don't know where it is, though. We'll figure it out. What's up, Mr. B. New? Happy freedom to you. Someone tells Zelensky to put on his high heels and tap dance off a cliff. Yeah, I'm about tired of looking at him. He's always crying. He's just crying about everything. What's up, Dual Helix? Happy freedom to you. J-Dog NPR is 100% funded by Melinda Gates Foundation. That's interesting. What's up, Justin Sane? Happy freedom. What's up, Brew Joe? Happy freedom to you. J-Dog, deport Zelensky. Yeah, hopefully they can get this peace agreement taken care of, and then we won't have to cover it anymore. What's up, Meta? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Rich? What's up, Jay Blazer? What's up, Dean? Happy freedom. What's up, Agent O? Snooks, it's in Massachusetts. Thank you for letting me know. Alright, hooligans, we'll get into this next video. Like I said, AOC confronted on Tesla attacks and gives a ridiculous answer in response. Which, I mean, would you really expect anything other from AOC? Come on, horseface, let's go. Alright, hooligans, like I said, we're getting into this with AOC when she's being confronted on whether or not her constituents are being riled up and kind of pushed in the direction of vandalizing these Tesla vehicles. Go ahead and hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
All right, the FBI investigating the bombs found in a Tesla showroom in Austin as protesters prepare for their Tesla takedown day of action this week. Here's AOC on who she's blaming for the violence against Teslas.
I think Democrats are to blame for why people are so triggered by this? Because
no, absolutely
when
not.
you're at rallies saying, not you particularly, but your colleagues saying F Elon Musk and using other words, to profane words to describe him, does that rile people up, your supporters, to take action on their own?
I don't know. You know, I think about Republicans calling me a communist and Republicans saying that I hate this country, and I certainly have felt the impact of that.
Okay, Fox News contributor and author.
I'm glad that she has felt the impact of that. Like I was saying, given a ridiculous response, Obviously, they are out there encouraging bad behavior. They're calling Elon and President Trump a bunch of Nazis and stuff. But then she's like, well, they were calling me names, and I've been impacted by that. You mean that's fueling your fire of hate in your heart? Yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't know why the lady asked that. What'd she think the AOC was going to say? That she was going to admit to it? Democrats just project onto other people. They don't admit to anything. Next up, video shows federal agents detaining a Tufts student. Now, in this video, they're going to claim that they're basically brain dead. They have no idea why the student got detained. They don't know where she is. They don't know what's going on. But if it's anything like Mahmoud Khalil's situation, the other 3 students that were arrested from Columbia University, chances are this is a pro-Hamas protester, has been radicalized while being at school. I can only assume that's why they're being picked up. Either way, it's coming up next. But first, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about AOC. Snooks, AOC does hate this country. F her. Yeah. I'm glad that she knows. I'm glad she knows that everyone's calling her a commie. I'm glad. What's up, guess some? Happy freedom to you. Turbo, I feel the impact of her crying in an empty parking lot. Mm-hmm. Pumpkin, she felt it. Aw, she's so special. Yeah, I'm glad we're hurting her feelings. She deserves it. For the Texan, she never answers questions unless it's, how much do you charge for a BJ? Well, at least she gives a solid response for that. Holy. Mr. B knew I'd do her once, just like everyone else. That's terrible. That's terrible. Non-woke, the gravy train has ended and the intolerant left hates it. Yep, absolutely. That was really kicking the hornet's nest when they shut down USAID. They've been pissed off ever since. J-Dog, that didn't answer the question. What an idiot. She is an idiot. Ghostly sounded like justification, not an answer. Yep, that's what I feel too. Matthew, you're a commie. I hope she can read the chat right now. Matthew, AOC's dumb as a box of rocks. It's being mean to rocks. Non-woke, is AOC still driving her Tesla? I don't know. I didn't realize she had one. I didn't realize she could drive. She doesn't really seem like the capable person of following the rules of the road. What's up, Donald? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Teasel? Happy freedom to you. Mr. B knew her Tesla has training wheels. I wouldn't be surprised at all. She probably has some personal driver so she can act all bougie, but the reality is she was never smart enough to get her driver's license. I could totally believe that. We'll go ahead and get into this next one. Like I said, video shows federal agents detaining a Tufts student. Now, like I said, I've never heard of Tufts before, and they play dumb through this whole video. I assume this is another radicalized student. Time will tell because there's not a lot of information in this video. But before we get into it, I want to remind you hooligans really quick, if you'd like to participate in Free Speech Saturday, make sure you post all of your memes over on Discord or on jeffmaclive.com. Just hop in the group chats on either platform. You'll see the tabs labeled memes. Drop what you got and we'll shout you out as we're making Saturdays more fun. Let's get this pulled up. They talk in this video like ICE kidnapped this person. But I bet you if this happened and the individual was wearing a MAGA hat, they would be less concerned. Hit that like button over on Rumble as well as over on the CommieTube, and let's get into this.
Antoinette, that footage comes from a home in Somerville. A home in Somerville where you have federal agents waiting in their cars for hours, parked there, waiting for that international grad student to leave her house, ultimately taking her away in handcuffs. This is the moment Tufts PhD student Ramisa Ozturk was taken into custody Tuesday night in Somerville. Ramisa's attorney says the Turkish national, who was maintaining valid F1 status, was detained by Department of Homeland Security agents as she was heading to meet with friends to break her Ramadan fast. Tufts University says they had no pre-knowledge of this incident and have no information about why the student was taken into custody, adding, "From what we've been told subsequently, the student's visa status has been terminated and we seek to confirm whether that information is true." Ozturk is listed as a co-author of a March 2024 op-ed in the Tufts Daily that called for the university to acknowledge genocide in Palestine and divest from companies with ties to Israel. Ozturk's attorney has not been able to contact her client, and Ozturk's whereabouts are unknown. Her attorney filed a habeas petition requesting that Ozturk not be moved out of the District of Massachusetts, which was granted by Judge Talwani Tuesday night. The attorney adding that she hopes Ozturk will be released immediately. Now, we have reached out to Homeland Security as well as ICE to find out why Romisa Ozturk has been detained. We have yet to hear back. Her attorney, though, says she has not been charged with a crime. It's also worth noting there's a rally scheduled at 5:30 tonight in Powderhouse Square Park in Somerville. Reporting live in Medford this afternoon, Matt Reed,
It kind of sounded like the news was promoting this rally that's coming up. They're like, in case you want to attend and become one of these pro-Hamas protesters. I don't know. The stuff that they were reading off that she's the co-author of, and she celebrates Ramadan, and she's from Turkey, and all this. I don't know. It kind of points to the same shit that we're seeing with Columbia University. This person probably is another pro-Hamas protester. I assume we'll see, because we'll be staying up to date with it. So when there's a follow-up video, we'll go ahead and cover it and find out for sure. Was this just mistaken identity, or is this another pro-Hamas piece of shit? Next up, we got a Jim Jordan video. It's titled "Judges Move to Block Trump Agenda at Historic Pace. The House Vows Action." Now, Speaker Johnson keeps saying, oh, he's going to do something about it. Well, we'll see, because it's real annoying to hear President Trump say we're going to do some great things for America, and then every step of the way, we have judges trying to resist it. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about this individual that was picked up by DHS. And I think she's probably connected to the pro-Hamas protesters, considering all the symptoms that they said, the details and whatnot. Let's read through. What's up, Cassie J? Happy freedom to you. Josh 1776, deport the lawyer too. How does she have a lawyer? Well, I don't know if they gave her a... I don't even know what the free attorneys are called anymore. I don't know if they gave her a court-appointed attorney or what. I mean, she is going to a university. Maybe they got money. I don't know how they got their money, though. Guess he looks like the gay dude from Reno 911. It's probably a compliment to that guy. He looks soft. And I wasn't sure if a bird shit on his head or what. He was like talking and then he did some weird thing with his ear. Like, get him, pigeons. The chickens of the sky. Josh 1776, probably a Soros or Hamas funded lawyer. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all. J-Dog, deport her ass to beautiful Turkey. Freely text, my best friend goes to Turkey every year for vacation. That's interesting. I don't know anything about Turkey, but I bet I couldn't go there. Non-woke, Trump is unraveling the past 4 years of unmitigated disaster. You're right. He's trying, but the damn judges, they're constantly standing in the way. J-Dog, she was past her visa date and she wrote an op-ed about terrorism. Yeah, we'll see what the follow-up says. Her attorney saying, well, we expect her to be released immediately. I don't know. They swarmed her on the street. Not everybody gets picked up like that. If she gets deported, she'll never be able to come back. What's up, Mary Todd? Happy freedom. Watch, she's a spy. That would be crazy. Pumpkin, gotcha. That's how it goes. There's no way the DHS coordinated to sweep her off the street like that if she was just a nobody. If she was just a student, just wandering around doing whatever, they wouldn't have got her like that. They must think she's connected to something. Non-woke young minds are easily radicalized. Yeah, absolutely. Because they just want to belong to something. So if you feel like you're being accepted into a group, especially if you feel that you're a minority of sorts, and then you have a group claiming that they're supporting the minority group that you're placing, you know, the label you're placing on yourself, then yeah, they join right up. That's why teenagers join gangs and stuff. It's the same exact reason. They just want to belong somewhere, and they end up getting involved in bad shit. What's up, Mike T? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Russell? Happy freedom to you. Guess universities usually have a legal aid student group. That's interesting. I didn't know that. What's up, Murdercom? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Kirk Allen? Scott Johnson, free Frankenstein. I haven't heard that yet. Yes. What's up, Shark? Happy freedom to you. John as hopefully she'll be deported. Yeah, time will tell. It's gonna get spicy when it starts getting warmer out. We're getting there. We're like right almost toes on the starting line. Especially if Mahmoud Khalil gets deported. I think that's what's gonna kick everything off. Mahmoud is gonna get kicked out of the country. I think his green card's already revoked. So once he gets kicked out, that's when these people are gonna start really losing their marbles. And then I think it's going to cause even more of them to be arrested. So it's going to be synergy. It's going to be just fuel on the fire there. Because the more of them that go out there and sympathize with Hamas, the more ICE is going to keep picking them up and sending them out. So I don't know. They're about to start a losing battle here. Here, Juice, my friend's aunt went to Peru last week and died. He has to fly 17 hours just to be there for 6 hours and fly right back. That is crazy here, Juicer. That's nuts. J-Dog, I thought he was already deported. No, he's being detained. I'm not even sure where he is anymore. Maybe in Louisiana? They're trying to ship him back to New Jersey so they can hold his trial there. But I think his green card status is revoked already. He's just not deported yet. What's up, Tony Rez? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Information Warlord? J-Dog, BLM don't care about illegals? Well, BLM doesn't care about anybody, but the BLM brand has lost its effectiveness. So now it's just these pro-Hamas protesters, but they're the same people. J-Dog, ICE will pick Hamas-loving illegals like hawks in a field of mice. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. Thanks for letting me know, Snooks. Hair Juicer, I don't know why I thought you could mail a body. I mean, it seems like you would be able to, Hair Juicer, but maybe they only do that for the military. What's up, Appeal to Heaven? Happy freedom to you. For the Texan now, it's HLM. Yeah, pretty much. That's pretty much what it is. J-Dog, so his lawyers are just stalling. Sounds like he'll be deported. Yeah. That's pretty much where we are, J-Dog. And that was before they found out that he had some connection to some foreign... I don't know if it's a leadership role or an embassy or something, but he basically has allegiance to another country. And they had proof of it somehow. He was connected to something. I can't remember. We just covered this a couple days ago. He's connected to some important place in a foreign country that he did not disclose when he filed for his green card. Now, because he's under the microscope right now, because he's an activist, he's not just a pro-Hamas protester, he's a pro-Hamas activist, they just found out that he has connections and ties to this foreign country that he never disclosed. And so now it's kind of like a double whammy. They were already going to deport him. Now they find out that they should have never even gave him a green card. So yeah, it's really, they're just stalling to get him deported. And the longer this goes on, the more the protesters are getting riled up, because they're claiming this is a free speech issue. They think that he was picked up on free speech, and the government's overreaching on his, what would be our constitutional rights. But that's obviously not the case. A call to action for a group of people who say, you know, death to America and all of that, and sympathizing with terrorist organizations, which is what he's doing, is breaking his green card. And all. He shot himself in the foot. He shouldn't have made those choices. But to his comrades, they don't see it that way. They think this is all about free speech and that President Trump's a mean orange man, and he's just being mean to minorities, we'll call it that, being mean to minorities because he's a racist, and he's overreaching on free speech. So like I said, the longer they hold Mahmoud, the more riled up the protesters get, and as soon as they ship his ass out of here, I think that's when the fires are going to start. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll go ahead and get into this next one. Like I said, this is Jim Jordan's, titled "Judges Move to Block Trump Agenda at Historic Pace, and the House Vows Action." And that's what President Trump was just kind of referencing while he was live. He was talking about Speaker Mike Johnson and all of that. They're going to play that clip in this, and then they're going to spend the rest of the video interviewing Jim Jordan. Hit the like button over on Rumble as well as over on the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
It violates separation of powers when a judge thinks that they can enjoin something that a president is doing that the American people voted for. That is not what the founders intended. We do have authority over the federal courts, as you know. We can eliminate an entire district court. We have power funding over the courts and all these other things. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and Congress is going to act.
That was Speaker Johnson sounding an alarm about judges blocking the president's agenda as he makes it clear Congress has the power to stop them. House Judiciary Chair Jim Jordan joins us now. Good morning, Chairman.
Good morning, Lawrence.
So let's look at some of these injunctions by the court. And I think it tells a story. When you look at Trump's first term, we're talking about 64 injunctions. Now, you compare that to Bush's entire term. You got 6, Obama with 12, and Biden with 14. Already right now, Trump is at 15 for the second term. So what's going to be done?
Well, there's legislative approaches to this, and we passed legislation out of the committee 2.5 weeks ago, which said when some judge in Timbuktu, California, issues an injunction, it should only apply to the parties in the case in that respective jurisdiction. It shouldn't have nationwide implications. So the speaker's indicated that legislation will be on the floor next week. So we have legislative ways to address this. We have the appropriations process that the speaker also mentioned. You know, we control the power of the purse. And we may want to look at the money that goes to the courts and judges. We don't want to jeopardize justice for the American people. And we certainly don't want to jeopardize any security concerns that justices have. We all remember what took place after the Dobbs leak with Justice Kavanaugh. But there may be some areas we can look at there. And then finally, the third lever we have as the legislative branch is oversight. And we plan to have hearings starting next Tuesday on this broad subject, where we look at some of these what I would simply call ridiculous orders. I mean, Judge Boasberg, he basically said, well, he did say, turn the plane around, bring bad guys who were here illegally, who did terrible things, turn the plane around and bring the bad guys back to the country. That makes no sense when you think about the commander-in-chief and his constitutional authority, the authority he has under the statute, the Alien Enemies Act, made no sense. So we're going to look at that as well.
Mr. Chairman, why can't we get some type of bill to bring this to the Supreme Court when there's a challenge against the president? Because we're taking all this time, and the American people want action because that's what they voted for.
In the legislation sponsored by Representative Issa that we passed on the injunction issue, we also have some expedited review in there. If you got some state attorney generals bring that. So we're also looking at the broader approach. Is there an expedited review process so the appellate courts can see this get these issues done in a faster manner and get it to the Supreme Court in a much quicker fashion? So we're looking at that issue as well on the legislative front.
Let's talk about the review when it comes to this judge who wanted to block the flights. All right. The president has declared the Alien Enemies Act. These people aren't citizens, right? So based on that act, he has the authority to skip some due process there. What's going to happen in a case like that? Or even with Marco Rubio, when you got a guy that's coordinated with Hamas, he's on a green card, he lied on his forms. Shouldn't the executive branch have some discretion here?
Yeah, the commander-in-chief, and after all, he campaigned on this. The American people elected him to do this. Article 2, Section 1, first sentence, executive power shall be vested in the president of the United States. So a strong constitutional ground, strong statutory ground. And you're right, these guys are here illegally, and they're not Boy Scouts. They're really bad guys. And this judge says, no, bring them back here. I got to check it out. And by the way, this is the same judge. This judge is the one who was there 8 years ago with the whole FISA court Trump-Russia baloney. This is the judge that allowed the crazy dossier to be used as a basis for going to spy on a presidential campaign, President Trump's campaign. So there's the history there, and it starts to look like this judge is operating in a political fashion. And we want to look at that as well in our hearings that we plan to start again next Tuesday.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for giving us some time this morning.
You bet. Thank you, Lawrence.
Okay. Well, Jim Jordan calling out that judge standing in the way of mass deportation. Speaker Johnson making claims that he's going to actually do something about this. I wonder when. Like, when are they going to get around to dealing with that? Now, they claim that they're going to have hearings and stuff starting Tuesday. Maybe we'll know more then. Next up, we have Alina Habba calls signal leak distraction, saying, I frankly have never read The Atlantic. This is Alina Habba telling us her thoughts on this whole texting thread leak situation that they claim classified information was being passed around and that a reporter was invited into the chat and all this other stuff. We saw Caroline Leavitt turning them a new asshole earlier today because every reporter in the room wanted to ask the same question over and over again, all related to that. We got Alina Habba's opinion on it coming up next. Also, apparently President Trump is going to be going live again, even though, like I showed you guys the schedule today, earlier, that 3 o'clock was supposed to be it. It's almost 5. He's going to be going live again. Apparently he's going to be delivering remarks on auto tariffs. So I got a video, or the live, pulled up over here. As soon as he steps on stage, we'll go ahead and give him priority and put him on the screen. But depending on what time that happens, we may be seeing Alina Habba next. Either way, we're going to read through the chat really quick, see what you hooligans think about these judges standing in the way of President Trump's agenda and the fact that Speaker Johnson is supposedly going to do something about it. Russell Judge Boasberg looks like a giant wiener. He does. He is a giant wiener. He's a big old wiener. He loves him. He's a big fan. He's a big fan of him. Russell, I think Johnson has redeemed himself. I'd like to see how things go. It sounds good. It sounds good. Hopefully they'll actually do something about it. Mr. B. New, yep, the long neck of justice. Mary Todd's so tired of Jim just talking and no action. Yeah. That's like all the Biden stuff. They had everything on Biden, and then they're like, oh, well, he's not fit to stand trial, so we'll just let him continue being a criminal. We can't try him. Like, that doesn't make any sense. They were saying for years that they were going to get him, and then they just didn't. Yeah, Jim Jordan, he sounds good, but I haven't seen him do anything. Appeal to heaven, I thought the president had authority over the courts anyway, so hopefully they actually do something. Yeah, and Speaker Johnson was saying that Congress has power to eliminate whole sections of court, or of judges and stuff like that. And it's like, well, that's great. We don't need you to come up here and flex your little wiener at us and tell us how strong and powerful you are. You just fucking do the thing. Like, telling us doesn't do anything. Like, that sounds great. Now do it. Just go do the damn thing. Don't tell us what you're going to do. Tell us what you've done. Appeal to heaven. I saw an ad for Trump health care for free. You mean like Obamacare, but it's Trump care? Did you see it on Rumble? I haven't seen anything like that. I don't know the last time I haven't seen ads because I use Brave browser. What's up, anybody? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Phillips? Who put the reporter in the encrypted chat? We got a mole. They said who it was, and I can't think of their name. They claimed that they were invited in the chat, but they don't really even know a whole lot about anything. They don't know how he was invited in the chat, even though he claims that this specific person invited him. They also claim to not know if there was classified information being put in the chat. They don't know if these individuals who are a part of the chat was authorized by President Trump to use that specific chat for communications about sensitive information. And it seems really easy to figure out because you're talking about one chat, but for some reason they got to have congressional hearings and we got to get 45 people involved and like, okay. So I don't know. It just sounds like a bunch of nonsense. We got Alina Habba talking about it next. Unless President Trump walks out on stage, but I don't think that's going to happen just yet. Ghostly, they wanted this covered and talked about. Yeah, that's why it's been breaking news for like 3 days or something. You got to look around all the text thread talk to try and see if anything else happened in the country today. Teasel Goldberg, yeah. What is his name? I can't remember his first name. It's not Jeff Goldberg, is it? So I'm trying to think. We covered a video yesterday that was talking about it. Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard was a part of that congressional hearing thing that was going on with the text thread situation. And they were like questioning her integrity about the whole deal. What's up, Sage Pup? Happy freedom to you. All right, hooligans, we'll go ahead and get into this next video here because President Trump's not on stage yet. Let's see where we are here. Alina Habba calls signal leak a distraction, saying, "I frankly have never read The Atlantic." We're going to hear her opinion on this huge story about the text thread. Do you think that's crazy? They should just go join the Discord. That'd be making the news every damn day. All right, now before we get into this, I want to remind you, hooligans, really quick, if you would like to join the membership program over on Rumble, all you have to do is click that big red subscribe button right below where you type in the chat. Now, if you're on Android and using the Rumble app, you're unable to see that big red subscribe button. So you got to go to rumble.com, come to the live, hop in the chat, and like I said, right below where you type in the chat, you will see that big red subscribe button. Click that button and jump through the hoops, and your name will be highlighted as an official Rumble hooligan. You'll have access to our custom emojis. We have chapstick emojis, scream and goat emojis, Klaus Daniels emojis, President Trump emojis, and more. It's a lot of fun during the live, especially during a Trump live. So definitely go join the membership program over on Rumble. Like I said, we're getting into Alina Habba. Not like that, you dirty hooligans. It's titled Alina Habba calls signal leak a distraction, saying, "I frankly have never read The Atlantic."
Good morning, everybody. Hi, Alina. Can we get a reaction to The Atlantic releasing in full all of the text messages and the chain in Signal? Now we have all the details, which included from the exact timings of when bombs were dropping. Your reaction?
Well, I think that we were upfront about it. We went in yesterday, as you saw, the better of the day, and got questions and answers by everybody, Tulsi, FBI, Kash Patel. Look, it is what it is. At the end of the day, this is, in my opinion, something that they're making a big to-do about nothing. This reporter, that is trying to get clout, that I also saw was on TV last night, trying to brand his own name and talk about this. I'm not surprised. It's The Atlantic. I frankly have never read The Atlantic. I don't plan to, but we answered the questions. I'm going to defer to those answers from the cabinet. Yeah.
Do you think any Trump administration official officials should be held accountable. Someone like Walt, someone like Hegseth who was in this chat.
Listen, we're allowed to have communications. That's period, the end. And the president spoke to this. We stand by Mike Waltz. He's doing a tremendous job. I think this is a distraction. I'm really not going to stand here and answer questions that the better part of yesterday was spent by the people that were actually involved answering. I was not a part of that conversation, but I will say this. We need to be looking at all the good things that we're doing, and every time to come out and to speak to the press and have it be a negative spin, it's much like what I've done for the better of 4 years. The negative spin needs to stop. Waltz has done a tremendous job, and let's talk about what he did. He took down the Houthis with Pete Hegseth, and that was important not for this country alone, but also for the world. So I'm very proud of the work that this administration is doing, and I would love if the press, for once, would focus on the actual facts and actions of this administration. This is frankly just noise. I'm used to it, but it's noise.
Yesterday, that no classified information was part of that. So releasing this today.
Well, so did Radcliffe.
Absolve Atlantic?
No, so
Kind of,
no. So did Radcliffe. If you look at it, so we have classifications, we have declassified conversations, and we're also allowed to use Signal for top-level official communications. We also have other means of communications that were used, and again, I'll speak to that this is, I'm not here to defend the Atlantic. It's a typical thing where a journalist is trying to make a name for himself, and I think he's making quite the name for himself, which is not a very good one. Thank you, everybody.
All right, Alina Habba seeming a little upset at the fact that this is still news, kind of like the rest of us. Stupid. How do you take a chat, just a thread of conversation, and turn that into 3 days of news? That is it's so crazy. It's so crazy. There's just nothing else happening. Apparently nobody's been pushed in front of a subway, or crime in Chicago's died down. Nope. It's all about the text thread. That's it. Obviously, they're just trying to smear the Trump administration. They're trying to say that his cabinet picks, and maybe even him himself, is a threat to democracy. They're a threat to our national security. Look at how these bumbling idiots text in a thread. That's what they're trying to tell all the normies right now. Now, this isn't the same as when they're doing fear-mongering over illness or the chicken flu. We can't see them wearing a mask because of this, but the normies, I assume, are eating it up, or they wouldn't be going on 3 rounds of look at the text thread that Trump's administration messed up. Stupid. So stupid. And like I said, they don't want to talk about how the person was invited in the chat, whether or not there was classified information in the chat, and like the whole situation. Were they clear to have it? Now, Caroline Leavitt came out and spoke to that today, but look at how the reporters reacted. She said there was no classified information in the chat, and that they were authorized to use it, which is what Alina Habba also said, that they were authorized to use the Signal chat. But then the reporter's like, well, were they authorized? Yeah. Was there classified info? No. But were they authorized? Yes. Like, it is just over and over and over again, because they don't want to say that part to the normies. They just want to keep saying, oop, look what the Trump admin did. Look what they did. Look what they did. They're trying to take our social security numbers. They're giving secrets to randos and journalists. They're not worried about security. They're going to tank the country. They also keep saying we're going to have a recession. They're saying Trump's economy is going to go into a recession. And so it's like these are just common talking points for the blue team right now, as they're so desperate to try and be relevant. I don't know how they could burn down the country for 4 years and then turn around and go, look at the terrible things that Trump's doing. I don't know. He'd have to try pretty hard to try and even come close to half the shit that the Biden administration was doing. Next up, Marjorie Taylor Greene explodes at PBS executive over drag queens on children's programs. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you Hooligans think about Alina Habba speaking on this text thread deal. Russell, I think Alina Habba is ready to have my child. I see how she looks at me. You let us know, Russell. We'll come to the wedding. Turbo, imagine if they leaked this chat. Yeah. They could report on the website chat for 3 days, I'm sure. Hair juicer, I wish they'd shut up about the chat. They will once they get enough normies believe in this nonsense. Kosa, I didn't really hear what she said, but I agree. She just basically said blue team bad, but we already knew that. Non-woke, put America first and defend the law and the president. Yep, it's real simple. They're overcomplicating it. Justin saying Dems are losing. They are. They're a bunch of losers. What's up, Nana? Happy freedom to you. Pumpkin, it's a hoax by the deep state and that reporter. Yep, it is. You are right. What's up, Sage Pub? Happy freedom. Thanks for joining us over here on Rumble. Ghostly, they used an already discredited reporter so they can control the narrative and news cycle. Epstein files still not out yet. Yeah, exactly. Uphill to heaven. I'll have to look into that. I haven't heard about any Trump care. That's interesting. What's up, Tori Wayne? Happy freedom to you. Tori Wayne, is 5'7.5" considered tall for a girl? Sort of. I mean, above average, I would think. Teasel, just say no to shape-shifting. I'm Jeff Mack, and I approve of this message. We need t-shirts. Finny, see, these people are desperate and pathetic. They have nothing else going on. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. As soon as it starts getting warm outside, we're going to see them setting fires, and they'll be back to peacefully protesting. J-Dog, the recession was inherited by Trump. Yeah. Well, like I said, they're trying to claim that President Trump's tariffs are going to cause a recession here. Like it's 2012 all over again. Susan, I'm tall, 5'11". You're the same height as me, Susan. Yep, happy freedom to you. What's up, Metal Mouth? Happy freedom. We were just listening to Alina Habba talking about the Signal text thread situation where the news keeps telling everyone that the Trump administration is careless about national security. We're also waiting for President Trump to get on stage. I'm not sure when exactly this is going to happen, but at some point in the near future, he's supposed to be giving remarks on, what does this say? Automotive, come on, thing. Automotive tariffs. Here, I'll show you. I'll show you what I'm looking at. Bam. So like I'm saying, at any point, he's going to be walking up on stage. Apparently, it was supposed to happen an hour ago. But I'll just keep it pulled up over here. Whenever he gets on stage, we'll go ahead and give him priority. Next up, we got MTG explodes at PBS exec over drag queen on children's programs. We'll go ahead and get into this. Come on, thing. All right, hooligans. Hit that like button if you got a like button. And let's get into this.
This hearing of the Subcommittee on Delivering on Government Efficiency will come to order. Welcome, everyone. Without objection, the chair may declare a recess at any time. I recognize myself for the purpose of making an opening statement. Good morning. At the DOGE Subcommittee, we are continuing our war on waste. That means rooting out spending that is unnecessary, wasteful, and frankly, un-American. Today, we are looking at the more than $500 million federal taxpayers spend annually to fund public radio and television. A big chunk of this subsidy flows to National Public Radio and Public Broadcasting Service. NPR and PBS are the big DC-based entities that create and distribute much of the news and educational content heard and seen on public radio and TV stations across the country. When Congress adopted the Public Broadcasting Act of 1967, it did so because it thought at the time that federal dollars were needed to provide objective news and education content to the entire nation, including rural residents who lived off the grid. Fast forward a few decades, and a lot has changed. The invention of the internet, for instance, and social media. It's made news and information widely available to those living in remote areas. Americans are increasingly consuming digital media and podcasts. The audience of public radio and television is declining. And I know this because I represent a rural district where farmers listen to podcasts and internet-based news while they drive their tractors. At the same time, NPR and PBS have increasingly become radical left-wing echo chambers for a narrow audience of mostly wealthy, white, urban liberals and progressives who generally look down on and judge rural America. PBS News is not just left-leaning, but it is actively uses taxpayer funds to push some of the most radical left positions, like featuring a drag queen on the show Let's Learn, a show targeted toward young children ages 3 to 8 years old. I want you to know I grew up watching children's programming on PBS. And as a mother who raised 3 children, I felt confident that I could leave the room while my own children were watching children's programming on PBS. But I can tell you right now, Ms. Kruger, specifically, as a mother, if I had walked in my living room or one of my children's bedrooms and seen this child predator and this monster targeting my children, I would become unglued. And that is how most parents feel all over this country. This is not the only example of them sexualizing and grooming children. They've been doing it for over the last decade. In 2015, PBS produced Frontline, put out a documentary, Growing Up Trans, that takes viewers on an intimate and eye-opening journey inside the struggles and choices facing transgender kids and their families. This means that PBS is one of the founders of the trans child abuse industry, all while taking taxpayer money. Brainwashing and transing children is an issue so hated by parents across the country that it was a driving force in the landslide Republican and Trump victory in the 2024 election cycle and presidential race. The news that these entities produced is either resented or increasingly tuned out and turned off by most of the hardworking Americans who are forced to pay for it. They no longer view NPR and PBS as trusted news sources.
Marjorie Taylor Greene there smoking PBS big time, but it's their own fault. It's their own fault. They won't put shapeshifters in front of kids and then pretty much program kids to consider, are they one of these shapeshifters? Like the documentary that MTG was just talking about, trying to walk children through the mindset of what it's like to grow up as a shapeshifter. Now, whenever you see stuff like that, especially while you're a child, the first thing you consider is, am I like that? Is this about me? And you don't need that stuff. You don't need them to question whether or not they're in the wrong body or any of this other crap. They will consider all options because they don't know anything. They're children. So obviously PBS and NPR and all these other programs that are funded by the federal government, funded by us, well, we don't need to fund them anymore. President Trump is talking about cutting I think it's just over $500 million to these federally funded programming networks, and I think it's a good idea. I don't think we have a shortage on entertainment at all, and everything that comes out is biased anyway. Doesn't matter where it comes from. It's almost impossible to hear secondhand information without it being biased. because it's being interpreted by the person telling you about it, which is why I don't tell you the news. We watch it together. So you don't have to have my interpretation of it. We can interpret it together. And that's the whole point here. So MTG laying into them. Hopefully they do cut the federal funding for these broadcasting stations and whatnot, because it's biased. It's not helping us. It's a waste of tax dollars. Cut them off. Next up, unless President Trump walks on stage, we got White House could freeze $27.5 million doll hairs and family planning grants. Now, this goes to companies like Planned Parenthood and facilities like that. So President Trump could be cutting their funding. It's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat, see what you Hooligans think about PBS being roasted by MTG. What's up, Jay Spray? Happy freedom to you. Jay Spray, we got rid of clowns and replaced them with these fucked up people. You're not wrong, Jay Spray. You are not wrong. Cassie J, the way NPR was covering J6 was so biased, it was infuriating. NPR kept repeating that J6 was comparable to 911 day. They had a J6 security guard saying he was never so scared. Yeah, Cassie J. And I'll never forget that day. We covered that day for like 17 hours and just all the theatrics. I mean, you know, there was protesting and stuff, but after people left the Capitol, it was just theatrics. People coming down on the House floor and crying about how they called their family for what could be the very last time. Like, oh yeah, you were going to be smoked by the protesters that were waving flags. Like, come on, man. So stupid. I will never get over that. They did the same exact thing during the second impeachment trial, because they were trying to impeach President Trump over J6, and we had Jamie Ratsack Skin going in there and crying his little eyes out about how afraid he was on J6, and that's why we need to impeach President Trump. And then they themselves did not come to the conclusion to impeach him because they couldn't come to the conclusion that it was an insurrection at all. And then for 4 years they claimed that he was the president that was impeached twice and caused an insurrection after they themselves came to the conclusion that neither of those things happened. Because that's how ridiculous the Democrat Party is. Russell. A chick I was trying to date was 6 foot and her friend told me she didn't date anyone shorter than her. Yeah, Russell, you know, women are like that. They're just like that. PBS needs to be defunded? Absolutely. Russell, Sesame Street and Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood was great on PBS when I was a kid. I used to watch that stuff too. I haven't seen PBS in a very long time, so I mean, I'm kind of surprised that they got drag queens on it, but then at the same time, you know, look at how the last 4 years went from the White House. Your juicer, I will definitely check that out. Appeal to heaven, the Democrat Party needs to be held accountable and or arrested. Absolutely. I mean, I'm just waiting. When is the accountability going to show up? We did our part. We voted Trump in. Let's see bad people going to jail. I'm ready for it. Been ready. Popcorn went stale, had to make new popcorn. That's where we are in this. J-Dog, I miss the old school Ronald McDonald and the gang. I don't know, all these large corporations, they all went woke. And so, I don't know. I feel like anything that plays to kids is a threat. Like any kind of big company that makes a character to try and tug on the heartstrings of kids, that is probably a threat. That company is probably threatening the kids. It's just like child actors. Child actors, child singers, those are modern day slaves. That's what they are. These people, these children are being emancipated and handed over to management of music industry or the movie industry, and they're told to go on stage and sing and dance. They got Stockholm syndrome. They're like completely separated from family, and then they grow up to be all fucked up like Britney Spears, you know, or Macaulay Culkin or any of these people. It's messed up. I have a hard time seeing kids on stage or singing songs or anything like that because it's just like it's human trafficking happening right in front of us, but we pay money to go watch it and we clap and cheer it on. Like, it's crazy. It's really crazy. Like, they've duped all of us into thinking it's okay. But if you watch any of those documentaries about children's stars, they're all terrible. They all had terrible experiences. They were all being mistreated by the people around them. It's terrible. So now when I see kids in commercials, or like I'm saying, you know, McDonald's having characters that appeal to kids, or kids singing and dancing on stage or in movies, it's like, it's happening right there in front of us, but we don't see it for what it is unless you've seen enough news. And then you realize, you're like, oh, this is actually a bad thing. It's crazy how we've been duped over the years. J-Dog, I watched Nickelodeon before it went woke. Yeah, when I was younger, I used to watch Nickelodeon too. Bobby, I'd kick Kermit's ass. I believe you, Bobby. Rappy, I'm disappointed at Pam Bondi. When is the Epstein list going to be released? It's a good question. Yeah, when does Phase 2 come out? Josh 1776, and now we know why Justin Bieber was with Diddy all that time as a kid. Yep, Diddy, Usher. I mean, it's a long list of people. Like I said, just look for famous people with teenagers. Any famous celebrity over the last 20 years that has teenagers that they're taking pictures with, like that are stars or whatever, Lil Bow Wow, Lil Romeo, like any of these kind of people, they're all like that, all the way back to like Lil Wayne. Like, they're all like that. They're all victims of human trafficking. Neighbor guy, happy freedom to you. Is it offensive to shapeshifters to put the toilet seat down, considering some women urinate with their wiener while standing? I don't know, neighbor guy. You know, I'm not considerate of shapeshifters in any fashion. If it makes them mad, then good. That's how I look at it. If they're mad, then you're doing something right. What's up, A&G? Happy freedom to you. And gee, the thing is, so many people still believe it was one of the worst things that ever happened, talking about J6. Yeah, we were covering a story about a J6er who got smoked by a cop. He was resisting arrest, and he had a pistol on the passenger floor in the front seat. And he ended up getting smoked because he was reaching for the gun and a bunch of other. It was a mess. There was no winners that day. But if you see that story anywhere around, you go into the comment section underneath that video, wherever it appears. There is so many people celebrating it, that literally saying another dead terrorist and stuff like that, because they believe the J6 was terrorism. Like, the news has screwed it up so bad that normies really think the J6ers are terrorists, and they celebrate if something bad happens to any of them, which is crazy because most of them were charged with misdemeanors if they were charged with anything at all. Hardly terrorism. You know, but normies, they're so brainwashed by the damn news. And that's what I'm saying. We need to defund them. Just defund them. Don't watch their bullshit. And President Trump needs to cut the funding for these government-funded news broadcasting stations like NPR and PBS and stuff. There's no point in paying those people. Not at all. What's up, Bloopy? Happy freedom. What's up, TPP? TPP, taking advantage of a child's natural identity crisis. That's exactly what happens. You're right. What's up, Rhyme Time? What's up, Mac? Happy freedom to you. Still keeping an eye on this live over here in case President Trump walks out on stage. TPP, it's absolutely everything on TV. I can't even turn it on, not even sports. Yeah, I have a hard time watching modern TV. I watch old-ass TV shows, and I just let them run. And thanks to all of you hooligans, you guys sent me a nice stack of DVDs over here, so I got older content to watch. But if I am going to watch TV, like I'm falling asleep for the night, I'll just throw on like Bob's Burgers or something like that, old-ass American Dad. Just put it on and fall asleep. I don't watch any new stuff, especially because of the politics. I'm just seeing that political messaging over and over again. If I watch old shows, there's probably political messaging, but I don't know the politics from that time. So I'm not picking up on it. Otherwise, I just feel like I'm at work. You know, I used to get heavily shit on for not listening to Tom McDonald. But eventually people came to the understanding that why would I want to listen to music that's all about work? That's my job, is to cover politics. I don't want to hear rappers talking about politics. Tom McDonald's badass, but I'm not going to sit there and listen to political music. I'd rather not. I'd just rather not. Anyways, we're going to get into this next video. Oh, actually, no, we're not. President Trump is on stage, it appears.
Very much. It's an honor to be with you today. We just celebrated Women's Day at the White House. It was fantastic, attended by a lot of great women. All women are great. So this is the beginning of Liberation Day in America. We're going to take back just some of the money that has been taken from us by people sitting behind this desk or another desk that's not quite as nice, but they have their choice of 7, as you know. And we're going to charge countries for doing business in our country and taking our jobs, taking our wealth, taking a lot of things that they've been taking over the years. They've taken so much out of our country, friend and foe, and frankly, friend has been oftentimes much worse than foe. And this is very modest. And what we're going to be doing is a 25% tariff on all cars that are not made in the United States. If they're made in the United States, there's absolutely no tariff. We start off with a 2.5% base, which is what we were at, and we go to 25%. And basically, as you know, and as you've been seeing, not reporting as accurately as it should be reported because it's a massive story. Business is coming back to the United States so that they don't have to pay tariffs. And I think also because of November 5th, the election, they're very happy. AI is coming back to levels that nobody's ever seen before. It's a new, sort of a new business, I guess, when you think about it. But it's plants are going up all over the United States, and many of them have already been started. We're getting early electricity taken care of. We're getting permits very quickly for them, and we're going to make their life very happy. They're coming in with tens of billions of dollars. Individual plants will cost 10, 15, even $20 billion. We're going to let them build electricity generating plants along with their plant, and they can't even believe it. And we're going to get them very quick permits, as I've done always. I did that in Louisiana with 2 LNG plants. I got them one permit in 1 day after waiting 14 years, and the other one in 1 week after waiting for 12 years. But this is very exciting to me. This is the automobile industry, and this will continue to spur growth like you haven't seen. Before I was elected, we were losing all of our plants. They were being built in Mexico and Canada and other places. Now those plants largely have stopped, and they're moving them to our country. In Indiana, the great state of Indiana, I love Indiana. Honda is building one of the biggest plants anywhere, and they've just started. They wouldn't have done it without this. In all cases, they wouldn't have done it without what we're doing. So we'll effectively be charging a 25% tariff. But if you build your car in the United States, there is no tariff. And what that means is a lot of foreign car companies, a lot of companies are going to be in great shape because they've already built their plant. But their plants are underutilized, so they'll be able to expand them inexpensively and quickly. But others will come into our country and build, and they're already looking for sites. They're looking for mostly sites. They don't want to take the old buildings that are empty and falling down. They want to build new, and there's tremendous action. There is likewise for other companies and countries, like the chip making process. Your chip bill was a disaster done by Biden. All he does is give tremendous amounts of billions of dollars to chip companies that will do nothing with the money. They're not going to use the money here. They're going to just keep it. They have plenty of money. The one thing they have is they have a lot of money. In our case, all we're doing is saying you can't come in unless you build here. And the largest chip company by far is manufacturer from Taiwan is building here, and it'll give us almost 40% of the chip market just with that. They're spending almost $200 billion in the United States to build a plant, and they've almost started. They'll be doing much of the work in Arizona. So we have a lot of exciting things, but to me, this is one of the most exciting. Now, outside of one specific day, and that's Liberation Day. That's the real Liberation Day of America, and that's going to be in April 2nd. and I look forward to it. We'll have a little news conference. We'll talk about it, but this is very exciting. So we're signing a executive order today that's going to lead to tremendous growth in the automobile industry. As you know, the electric mandate that we did allows you to buy a car now with electric or gasoline powered or hybrid. You can buy any car you want. We had it so that within a short period of time you had to buy all electric, and the country could never provide the money necessary to build all of those power plants that you would need all over the country. As you know, in the Middle West, they built 8 power stations. That's like the size of this desk or smaller. And they ended up spending $9 billion on 8. And of the 8, 4 of them didn't work. And we're not doing that. So you can buy electric, or you can buy gasoline, or you can buy hybrid, or you can buy whatever you want to buy. And that's the way it should be. The market's going to determine that. And you're going to see prices going down, but it's going to go down specifically because they're going to buy what we're doing, incentivizing companies to, and even countries, but companies to come into America and build. And we're already setting records for new plants. I think the new plant number, the tally is just within a period of a few weeks. It's very large. I want to be accurate. It's very large. And I'd like to ask Will just to come and give some of the basics, and then I'll sign it, and it's off to the races. I think our automobile business will flourish like it's never flourished before. Yes, please, Will.
Thank you, sir. As you stated, we've prepared for your attention a proclamation imposing a 25% tariff on foreign-made cars and light trucks. This is in addition to tariffs that are already in place on those goods. In addition to, as you said, spurring increased domestic manufacture of cars and trucks, we expect that these tariffs will result in over $100 billion of new annual revenue to the United States of America in tariff revenue.
I think ultimately we could probably anywhere from $600 billion to $1 trillion will be taken in over the relatively short-term period, meaning a year from now, but starting right away. I think we'll go from 600 to $1 trillion within 2 years, and I think we'll be right from the beginning we're going to be at a very high number, right from the beginning. And right from the beginning you're going to have a lot of construction jobs, but you're also going to have a lot of automobile jobs. So this is very exciting, but it's also exciting because of what's happening with other aspects. We're going to be doing tariffs on pharmaceuticals in order to bring our pharmaceutical industry back. We don't make anything here in terms of drugs, medical drugs, different types of drugs that you need, medicines. It's in other countries, largely made in China, a lot of it made in Ireland. Ireland was very smart. We love Ireland. But we're going to have that. We're going to have lumber. We're going to free up some of our land. And you'll be able to meet a lot of other standards like fire cuts. If Los Angeles had fire cuts, which they didn't have, that's a gap of half a football field between areas. You wouldn't have had the fires. They would have been contained. But you have fire cuts. And by the way, you sell that wood for a lot of money, a lot of profit is made from that. But we're going to be doing lumber. We're freeing up our land so that so that we don't have to use outside sources of lumber. Energy, we're doing fantastically well at. The energy prices have been coming down rapidly as we increase supply, and we've already done that. Chris and Doug are doing a fantastic job in that. That's Department of Energy and Department of Interior. And they're working together hand in hand because Interior has the land and Energy has the ability to do the drilling and do what they have to do. Our coal areas are going to be opened up for clean, beautiful coal. Germany's opening up many coal plants now. They tried the wind and it didn't work. They almost went out of business. They almost went bankrupt. They tried wind, which is a disaster because it's too expensive and it doesn't look good, kills all the birds, a lot of problems. But Germany is now building a lot of coal plants. China is building one a week. Think of that. And they're using coal, which is very powerful. Coal is a very powerful energy. And we're opening up our coal mines again, and we're going to do, I call it beautiful, clean coal. The technology is so good now that coal can give you tremendous power at the same time. It can be very clean. But we're also obviously doing oil and gas and various other things. You can do pretty much whatever you want. We don't like the wind because we think it ruins the landscapes, the plains, ruins them. And it's got a lot of problems. It's also by far the most expensive energy. It looks horrible in the oceans. It's dangerous in the oceans in terms of navigation. And if you look at what's happening with whales, in one area, they lost 2 whales, like in 20 years, washed ashore. And this year they had 17 wash ashore. So there's something happened out there. There's something driving the whales a little bit loco, but they lost 2 in 20 years. And now they lost 17 in a short period of time. So it's something wrong out there. So this is very exciting. This is going to lead to the construction of a lot of plants, and in this case, auto plants. And you're going to see numbers like you haven't seen, both in terms of employment. Takes a little while. You're going to have great construction numbers initially, and then ultimately you're going to have a lot of people making a lot of cars. And one other thing, we have the Speaker of the House with us, who's doing a fantastic job. And where's Mike? And we're trying to get approved. Mike, thank you very much for being here. We're trying to get approved, if we can. If you borrow money to buy a car, you're allowed to deduct interest payments for purposes of income tax, but only if the car is made in America. So if the car is made in America, you get a loan, you can deduct the interest. That's a big saving. A lot of people in that part of the world, in terms of buying cars, a lot of them don't think in terms of deductions. People that think in terms of deductions are very wealthy people, but people are going to start understanding what a good deduction is all about. So when you get a loan to buy a car, and I think it's going to pay for itself. I don't think there's any cost. I think you're going to have so many cars built, but you're only going to get that deduction of interest if the car is made in the United States of America. So I'm going to sign this, and Mike, I hope you can get that, because I think it's going to be amazing in terms of the number of cars that are going to be made because of it. And I want to thank Howard Lutnick, our fabulous commerce chairman. That's what he is. He's a chairman. He's a very successful guy, a great guy. And we have a big day, Howard, coming up next week. It's going to be good. That's Liberation Day. That's going to be on the 2nd, and that's going to be reciprocal. And I think people will be impressed. We're going to be very fair. We're going to be very nice, actually. We have not been treated nicely by other countries, but we're going to be nice. So I think people will be pleasantly surprised, but it's going to make our country very rich, because we're the piggy bank that everybody steals from, and they've been doing it for many years, for decades, so we're not going to let it happen. So, but we're going to treat people very nicely. We're going to treat other countries very, very nicely, and I think it's going to have a very positive effect on everybody, including those other countries. So I'll sign this, and we will see you again on April the 2nd. In terms of this, it's going to be another round, and it's about making America great again, making it strong and prosperous again. Thank you very much.
So, Mr. President, on tariffs, Mr. President, on the car tariffs, how do you assure that a car coming into the country is fully built? Could an automaker in Germany say, leave the tires off a car?
Yeah, we're going to have very strong policing, and it's pretty easy to do. If parts are made in America and a car isn't, those parts are not going to be taxed or tariffed. And we'll have very strong policing as far as that's concerned. For the most part, I think it's going to lead cars to be made in one location. Right now, a car would be made here, sent to Canada, sent to Mexico, sent all over the place. It's ridiculous. So this is a very simple system. And the beauty of the 25, it's one number. It's not up or down depending on the cost of the car. It's one number. And that number is going to be used to reduce debt greatly in the United States and to build things, reduce taxes. I mean, basically, I view it as reducing taxes and also reducing debt. And within a fairly short period of time, I think we're going to have a balance sheet that's going to be outstanding. Yeah.
How do you assure Americans then that this will not cause a long-term increase in prices?
Well, look, I think we're going to have a market the likes of which nobody's ever seen before, not in this country. We had the best market ever in my first term. It was the strongest market ever, the best economy ever. And I think you're going to I think this blows it away. But this is something that people have wanted to do, presidents have wanted to do for a long time. A lot of them didn't understand it. It wasn't a priority for them. But foreign countries understood it very well. And they've really ripped us off at levels that nobody's seen before. But that's not going to happen.
Mr. President, is this for today or on April 2nd, the auto tariffs?
Say it?
Do these auto tariffs go into effect today or on April 2nd?
They go into effect on April 2nd. We're signing today. It goes into effect April 2nd. We start collecting on April 3rd.
More sectoral tariffs that are coming in on April 2nd.
What does that mean?
Any more tariffs on any other sectors on April 2nd, for example, chips or pharmaceuticals?
Not then, but we will be putting a tariff on lumber. We, as you know, have a tariff already on steel and on aluminum of 25%, and we're taking in tremendous amounts of dollars. More importantly, our steel factories and aluminum factories are roaring. They're starting to roar. They're building new ones. I just heard from Nucor, which is a big company, a very big steel company, and they're building a massive plant for steel that they wouldn't build without this. So you're going to see things that are going to be actually amazing. And I think you already have. You know, we've had some news conferences where I can't have enough. They want to do news conferences where they announce they're going to spend $20, $30, $40 billion. But Apple, as an example, is spending $500 billion. Okay, any other?
On the Signal chat, Senator Roger Wicker.
Hold on one second.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Reciprocal tariffs next week. Will those be immediately effective April 2nd on all countries, or will you focus on the worst offenders?
No, we're going to make it all countries, and we're going to make it very lenient. I think people are going to be very surprised. It'll be, in many cases, less than the tariff that they've been charging us for decades. So I think people are going to be very, very surprised.
Why is that?
I think they'll be pleasantly surprised. I don't know. I think we're trying to keep it somewhat conservative.
And on these auto tariffs, we saw obviously the NASDAQ 100 go down 2% at close, S&P 500 down 1%. What are you concerned
Is that
about
today?
that market reaction?
Today?
Yes, sir.
I didn't say that. I want to see the jobs. I want to see that'll all take care of itself. That could take care of itself in 1 day, 2 days, or 1 week.
Are there any conditions under which you'd remove these auto tariffs, sir, or is this permanent for the rest of your term in office?
Oh, this is permanent, yeah, 100%, yeah.
Are you on the auto tariffs? Did Elon Musk advise you at all on these auto tariffs?
No, because he may have a conflict, so we don't talk. I've never talked to him. Elon's amazing. He's never asked me for a favor in business whatsoever. I'm actually a little surprised by it. I might do it, I might not do it. I do what's right, and he'd want me to do what's right. No, he's a patriot. He has never, you know, these are big deals we're talking about. This is probably nothing like this. And I've never had Elon come and say, would you do me a favor with the mandate or the electric mandate or anything. He's never asked me for anything.
Sir, also, what's your response to Republican lawmakers who have said today that your administration should take more accountability and not downplay what's happened with Signal that we've seen in these messages today?
Well, I don't know about downplaying. The press upplays it. I think it's all a witch hunt, that's all. I think it's a witch hunt. I wasn't involved with it. I wasn't there, but I can tell you the result is unbelievable because the Houthis are looking to do something. They want to know, how do we stop? Can we have peace? The Houthis want peace because they're getting the hell knocked out of them. It's been very, very strong. The Houthis are dying for peace. They don't want this. And they're bad. Look, they were knocking ships out of the ocean. You know, we had in the Suez Canal, they only have about 20% of the ships going through. They have to go through a different way, which takes weeks of travel. And that really affects commerce. But the Houthis have been hit hard, and they want to negotiate peace. But I don't think they're quite ready.
Classified that was shared?
Say it?
Do you still believe nothing classified was shared?
Well, that's what I've heard. I don't know. I'm not sure. You'll have to ask the various people involved. I really don't know. I can only tell you this. You know, you don't want to talk about it. The Houthis have been horrible to the world. What they've done, killed a lot of people. They knocked down a lot of ships and planes and anything else. You know, it's not just the ships. And they have been hit. They have been hit harder than they've ever been hit. And they want us to stop so badly. And they've got to stop. They've got to say no mas. But I can only say that the attacks, it's attacks every day, every night. It's not just the one. You're talking about one. The attacks have been very successful, even beyond our wildest expectations. We've hit them very hard, very successfully, and we're going to do it for a long time. We're going to keep it going for a long time.
Senate Republicans have said that they would formally ask the administration for an Inspector General report on the signal issue. Will you agree to that?
It doesn't bother me. I don't know. I want to find if there's any mistake or if a signal doesn't work. It could be that signal is not very good. It's a company. Maybe it's not very good. I think we'd rather know about it now. There was no harm done because the attack was unbelievably successful that night, and it has been unbelievably successful every single night for the last 4 or 5 nights. So, and that's the thing that you should be talking about. This is something that should have been done by sleepy Joe Biden, but he was asleep at the wheel, other than when it came to stealing money, of course. Joe Biden should have done this attack on Yemen, which is basically a certain group within Yemen, the Houthis, and this should have been done by Joe Biden, and it wasn't. And that's caused this world a lot of damage and a lot of problems.
He's responsible, but he's also overseeing the investigation to find out what went wrong. Maybe
who's responsible?
But Waltz says that he's responsible.
Well, yeah, Mike Waltz, I guess he said he claimed responsibility, I would imagine. Had nothing to do with anyone else. It was Mike, I guess. I don't know. I was told it was Mike. But again, the attacks were unbelievably successful, and that's ultimately what you should be talking about, I think. Mike did. He took responsibility for it. Say it.
Should Secretary Hegseth consider his position over the signal?
Hegseth is doing a great job. He had nothing to do with this. Hegseth. How do you bring Hegseth into it? He had nothing to do. Look, it's all a witch hunt. Here we are talking about some of the greatest business deals ever made. The greatest companies in the world are moving into the United States, and you want to ask about whether or not Signal works. I don't know that Signal works. I think Signal could be defective, to be honest with you. And I think that's what we have to, because you use Signal, and we use Signal, and everybody uses Signal, but it could be a defective platform, and we're going to have to find that out. Say it.
Have you been briefed about the soldiers in Lithuania who are missing?
No, I haven't.
Have you spoken, sir, with the big 3 automakers about these tariffs? What was their reaction?
I have.
What was their reaction?
It depends on whether or not they have factories here. I can tell you, if they have factories here, they're thrilled. If you don't have factories here, they're going to have to get going and build them, because otherwise they have to pay tariffs. Very simple. And most of those have pretty big factories here, like General Motors has big factories here. They're going to move their parts divisions back to the United States, because some of them were made in Canada and some of them were made in Mexico and other places. They'll be moving their parts division back to the United States in factories where they may be at 60% capacity, so they don't even really have to build too much of a factory. But, generally speaking, if they have factories here, plants here, where they make their cars and equipment, but they make their cars here, they are thrilled. Same thing with the steel industry. Steel industry is now paying a 25% tariff, as you know, I put it on last week, and the business is roaring in the United States. And we can't, because of military, we can't lose the steel industry. If I didn't put the initial tariffs on steel in my first term, you wouldn't be able to have a military, because we wouldn't have. Every steel company would be bankrupt in the United States, and every plant would be closed. But now they're booming. And putting this tariff on, this additional tariff for steel and aluminum, it's making them thrive. And it's already happened.
Mr. President, coming up on the deadline for the TikTok sale, will you extend that deadline if you don't have a deal? Do you support Oracle?
Well, we will have a form of a deal. TikTok is very popular, very successful, very good. We're going to have a form of a deal, but if it's not finished, it's not a big deal. We'll just extend it. I have the right to have the deal and to extend it if I want. So we'll see whether or not we have a deal. We have a lot of interest in TikTok.
Is there a way for a U.S. company to operate it and ByteDance to still have a share of the algorithm?
Well, there are numerous ways you can buy TikTok, and we will find the one that's best for the country, for our country. I'm worried about our country more than anything else with respect to TikTok. And China is going to have to play a role in that, possibly, in the form of an approval, maybe. And I think they'll do that. Maybe I'll give them a little reduction in tariffs or something to get it done. because every point in tariff is worth more money than TikTok. If you think every point, tariff is a much bigger world, and TikTok is big, but every point in tariffs is worth more than TikTok. So, in order to get China to do, maybe I'd give them a reduction in tariffs as an example. Sounds like something I'd do.
Do you think tariffs are going to be good for Tesla, sir?
Good for who?
Tesla, which makes it
Well, he is a fantastic Tesla. Will tariffs be good? I think they may. It could be a net neutral, or they may be good. He has a big plant in Texas. He has a big plant in California, and anybody that has plants in the United States, it's going to be good for, in my opinion.
Mr. President, the European
You want
Union
to
has
return
really
education control to the states. How would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policy?
You know, I haven't seen a mask in so long. You're wearing a mask. So nice of you. I haven't seen anybody wearing a mask in a long time. It's good. You feel more comfortable, right? Good. That's good. So go ahead.
You said you want to return education control to the states. How would you handle it if a state like California were to put in place education policies you disagree with?
Well, I think that California is going to be tougher because they're doing badly on everything they do. You know, everything they touch turns bad. So a place like California would be tougher for education. But what I would see with California is you'd have a Los Angeles department, and you'd have Riverside. You'd go to various places. And I think you'd have some great areas in California, and then you'd have some, like everything else, that doesn't work so well. But ultimately, I think it would be very successful. I think in New York, as an example, you'd go to Long Island, Westchester, you may have Nassau County, Queens County. You break it up in certain ways so they'd have maybe 5 departments. Because of the size, they'd have 5 departments instead of 1. A state like Iowa, you'd have 1. And, I mean, they're just chomping at the bit to get going. So many states are chomping at the bit to get education, and it's going to happen fast, to get the education.
Come on, Rise Up Broadcasting. Do the thing. I'm glad they can advertise to us. Can we get on with the video?
Right now, obviously frozen for all the networks as well. So at the end of the day, as soon as it starts again, we'll go back to watching President Trump take the questions from some of the reporters there. While that gets back to operating functionality, we'll send it right there to it. In the meantime, if you're just joining us, President Trump signed an executive order that will, quote, lead to tremendous growth in the auto industry. There will be a 25% tariff for all cars not made in the United States. And if you make your cars in the United States, there are no tariffs. So again, the common sense winning continues in Washington, D.C., and we're seeing that live feed from the White House there. Usually it's a replay sometimes when it comes to executive orders. This time it's live, and as soon as we get...
Okay. I'm constantly talking about how the White House press sucks, and everyone thinks I'm just being mean, but nah, it shouldn't be like that, but it is. Jesus loves us. Anyways, I'll keep this pulled up, and if they decide to unfreeze President Trump, we'll go ahead and put him back on the screen. But we're going to get into this next video here. It's titled, White House Could Freeze $27.5 million in family planning grants. Now, this is going to hurt companies like Planned Parenthood, which they deserve it. Now, before we get into this, I want to remind you guys, you should go check out the only Hooligan shop for cool custom Hooligan items. Everything in the shop, including the shop itself, was created by Alistair. And this is our effort to get away from third-party systems so we can have control over prices, quality, shipping times, things like that. We're going to be consistently adding to the Hooligan shop, so definitely go check it out for cool custom Hooligan items. Like I said, we're going to get into this Planned Parenthood type of video. It's not just Planned Parenthood that's going to be affected by this, but other similar companies will all be affected, but most known is Planned Parenthood. So hit that like button over on Rumble as well as the CommuTube, and let's get into this.
The Trump administration's efforts to curb DEI could impact how some Americans plan their families. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting that tens of millions of dollars in federal family planning grants could be frozen. Planned Parenthood says it's shameful and would cut Americans off from important testing, screenings, treatments. News Nation's Alicia Nieves has more for us. Alicia, so where is the concern being felt hardest this morning?
Yeah, good morning, Marky. I mean, this is concerning for these family planning organizations all around the country, like the Planned Parenthood just behind me. I mean, according to this Wall Street Journal report, we're talking about $27.5 million potentially immediately frozen. That's more than 20% of the $120 million that is earmarked for these kind of organizations throughout the country. I mean, when we're talking about freezing, you're talking about 4,000 locations, again, around the country, these clinics. Some 4 million people we know depend on these clinics for free and discounted health services on everything from pregnancy testing, contraception, to fertility counseling, even cancer screening. And already, Marky, just a report of a possible funding freeze getting a lot of backlash. You have Planned Parenthood and its affiliates sounding the alarm, telling News Nation in a statement, this is blackmail. President Trump and Elon Musk are holding Planned Parenthood patients hostage by slashing funds from birth control providers to receive Title X grants. And then a spokesperson from Health and Human Services, we reached out to them. They're confirming to News Nation that the department is in fact reviewing the grants to make sure they are in line with the administration's efforts to crack down on DEI. Remember, Marky, Republicans have long fought to defund Planned Parenthood, and the Trump campaign promised to help with that on the campaign trail. J.D. Vance at several rallies, if you recall, said that Trump would halt funding to the organization if elected. And again, according to the Wall Street Journal report, we know based on that reporting that we could see a decision by the end of this week. We did reach out to HHS again directly, trying to get more information on the potential timeline if they reach a decision. They would not give us that. All they would say is that a final decision has not been made just yet, Marky.
Yeah, I know you'll keep us posted when they respond further. Alicia, thank you so much. Thanks for watching.
Okay, Planned Parenthood about to lose their funding, as well as a few other companies. I'm sure we'll have a follow-up on that, considering the final plans haven't been made yet. $27.5 million we'd be saving by not giving them all our money so they can go out there and kill babies. Sounds like a plan. Next up, we got the last little bit of the news. It's titled, Supreme Court Upholds Federal Regulations on Ghost Gun Kits. Now, in this video, they're going to claim that they're just trying to regulate ghost guns the same as they regulate firearms. But control is bad. It's coming up next. First, we're going to read through the chat, see what you hooligans think about President Trump stripping funding for companies like Planned Parenthood. Here, Juicer. I'm stoked. We're going to make so much money. This cripples our two biggest competitors and will fuck up our outsourcing. Yeah, here, Juicer. When I was working at the factory and we were making random car parts and stuff like that, there were so many times where we didn't have something because we had to wait for some other country to ship it out to us. And so hopefully that'll start bringing manufacturing here, where not just the things we're assembling, but the components that go into manufacturing will also be made here in America, like it should be, creating more jobs and cheaper prices for us. More money for the country. Sounds like a good thing. Guess ghost guns are spooky. Yeah, to the government they are. Cassie J, poorly Planned Parenthood. Exactly. Russell, Planned Parenthood should be defunded. Yeah, they were pulled up outside the DNC when we were covering the election and all of that. I'm glad they had their last little hurrah there. Maybe they'll be working out of a food truck from now on, since they're getting their funding stripped. Guess microchips shut so many people down in 2021. Yep. I'm trying to think if I might have still been at the factory when that was going on, and there was times where we'd walk in and they'd say, we don't have any boards, talking about motherboards, and we'd be like, oh, okay, and they're like, so just go stand around for 8 hours, and we would just stand there. We would literally just stand there and get paid $15 an hour to stand there and stare at each other. It was so stupid. WC, what does Planned Parenthood do? They smoke babies, and I think they hand out contraceptives and stuff, but they're mostly known for killing babies. What's up, Neon Love Machine? Happy freedom to you. Neon Love Machine, if there's no more abortion, where are they going to get the mRNA? Well, they use it from Chimera. You got to look it up. I got a strike last time I was talking about it. You got to look it up. What's up, Resident Alien? Happy Freedom. Neon Love Machine, remind me on Saturday, and I'll tell you on Saturday. Because YouTube won't be around and I can speak freely. What's up, Jack? Happy Freedom to you. Resident Alien does an 80% lower count as a ghost gun? I'm not really sure, Resident Alien. I'm not exactly sure. I think so. I think anything where you gotta do work to it to convert it into a functioning tool, I think that is basically what's considered a ghost gun. I'm not sure what the stipulations are for the definition of it. Ghostly, they really can't regulate it anymore. I know, that's what I'm saying. It's just control. What's up, Lone Wolf? Happy Freedom to you. Appeal to Evan. I delete YouTube, but every time I delete it, it comes back to my phone. Yeah, it's pre-programmed in the operating system. That's why everybody uses YouTube, is because it's already built into their phone. That's what Rumble should be doing, is they should be trying to figure out how to pay the cost to be installed on Android and iPhone from the factory, because that's really how they're going to beat YouTube. Ghostly, it's just another way to lock innocent people in a box. Yep. It's all about the control. I'm not sure if Right Side Broadcasting is going to end this live or not. I still got it pulled up in case President Trump comes back on. What's up, Tim Mack? Happy Freedom to you. What's up, EFO? What's up, Corn Pop? Happy Freedom to you. Corn Pop, how do you need funding and get money to contribute to the DNC? It's a good question. Yep, Right Side Broadcasting just ended that live. Apparently President Trump's live is over. I don't know who's controlling the media coming out of the White House, but they're doing a terrible job. President Trump should hit me up. I would do it for a deal, and I'd do a damn good job too. But they gotta let my hooligans get involved. That's just part of the deal, you know? Love me and all my kids. Anyways, we're going to get into this last video here. It's titled, Supreme Court Upholds Federal Regulations on Ghost Gun Kits. Now, again, they're going to be making a lot of claims in this video about, no, you know, we're not trying to do anything. We just want things to be safe. I'm like, sounds like a lot of greater good talk. Now, come on, YouTube. Do the damn thing so we can watch the video. Look at the stupid buffering. See, every time I go to bust them out, all of a sudden it starts working. I swear to God, YouTube is watching the live. Finger over the button. Anyways, hit that like button over on Rumble as well as over on the CommiTube. And let's get into this.
Let's bring in senior Washington reporter Devin Dwyer and legal analyst Kim Whaley and Brian Buckmeyer for more. Devin, talk me through this ruling from Justice Gorsuch, a significant one here from the court.
Very significant for advocates of gun control safety, Diane, and the government's ability to regulate the purchase of gun kits, those that are assembled at home, creating what are known as ghost guns that aren't traceable. This 7-2 decision written by Justice Gorsuch, highly textual, focused on the text of the Gun Control Act of 1968, where he basically says that even though the weapon is not fully assembled in these kits, it does qualify as a firearm that can be regulated, as you said, subjected to background checks age limits, and other serialization requirements that would apply to a fully assembled weapon. Now, this decision comes at a time when the country has seen an explosion of the use of these weapons on streets in crimes and in accident scenes. Teenagers for many years, Diane, had been buying these behind the backs of their parents, assembling them, injuring themselves and others. And so now the court today, with only 2 dissenting justices, Justice Thomas and Justice Alito, upholding those regulations, though, saying the government can crack down on these devices.
Ryan, I know you've worked on cases involving some of these so-called ghost gun kits. What's the bigger impact of this ruling?
The bigger impact is law enforcement having the ability to track and monitor who's not only purchasing these firearms, but also using them, regulating them the same way that we do with firearms already. I think, as you pointed out, this is not a ban on ghost guns. It's just simply regulating them in the same way that guns are regulated as well.
Devin, what kind of precedent does this set, and where does this go legally from here?
Well, this is a significant precedent under the Gun Control Act, Diane. You know, these issues around the definition of what constitutes a gun have really complicated efforts to crack down on gun issues in this country for a long time. So for the court today to say that these gun parts kits qualify as weapons is a significant victory. It will lift the spirits of those that are seeking to crack down. But of course, I've heard from a number of gun kit manufacturers. They say they are determined to continue to push forward with this. This was not a Second Amendment case, but they do believe it's the right of Americans to continue to make guns at home. So continue to look at this issue. But again, a big win today for gun regulators, Diane.
It sure is. Devin Dwyer, Brian Buckmeyer, thank you both.
A huge win for gun regulators. You mean commies? Is that what you're talking about? They gotta be talking about commies. Like, what part of shall not be infringed means regulation? Bunch of damn commies over here celebrating a whole bunch of nothing. It's not gonna stop people from making ghost guns. It's just not. It's not. Like, it's not. So I don't know what they think they're gonna do. Like, maybe sales will be done a little bit more secretively than they already are, but it's not going to stop people from making them. It's just not. This is just goofiness. If anything, this is for the other side of things, where they come raid your house because you got funny memes and shit, and then they find you might have ghost guns, and then they're going to treat you like a terrorist and put you up on the TV and call you a white supreme pizza and nice things like that. That is the last little bit of the news. We got fun stuff coming up next. We're going to be opening today's door from the advent calendar that was sent to us by Wad. And then we got 2 funny videos of the day. First one's titled Death by Insults. And our official funny video of the day, Small Lives Matter. All of that's coming up next, but first we're going to read through the chat. See what you hooligans think about these ghost gun regulations. Guess ABC News. According to the cannibals, people are a healthy source of food. Yeah, pretty much. Holy, here, Juicer, I've never seen a ghost gun that looks like that. I can't even show the rest of the class that gif. Russell, but what damn, I can't read that out loud either. You hooligans, you're going to have to get yourself a membership for the website. The chat is spicy. If Russell do a shot, I can't. I'd be terrorizing the city like King Kong or Godzilla. I'm having such a shit day and I'm just trying to keep it together. I can't do a shot. And I haven't eaten at all. I'd be like throwing up and angry. Nobody wants me throwing up and angry. Nobody wants those problems. Information warlord, yep, you are right. Metal Mouth, it's about time somebody stripped Planned Parenthood's funding. Yeah, we won't know for a little bit, not until President Trump actually makes a decision. It's just being considered right now. It's kind of like FEMA. They're talking about doing away with FEMA. They haven't officially put out the paperwork yet, but they keep floating that idea that they're going to be getting rid of FEMA. Lots of changes. Well, lots of changes in the works. We keep having these federal judges stand in the way of everything. If Speaker Johnson actually does do something about these resistant judges, if that actually happens, I think we'll start seeing change very quickly. Because right now it's just like President Trump makes a decision and then a judge denies it. And then weeks go by and we just hear about the arguments of back and forth. And so once they fix this judge situation, I think we'll start seeing changes picking up. Bill Clay, regulations mount up. J-Dog, people kill, not guns. That's right. When they gonna ban these assault cars? All these pieces of shit keep driving cars into parades and stuff. When they gonna regulate that? Yes, guess something I do. You can't leave yet because I got this funny video just for you. Thanks for letting me know. Appeal to heaven. Lone Wolf, I just want Michigan to become a Constitution carry state. I do too, and they keep floating the bill, but it never passes. I just renewed my CPL, so I'm good for another 5 years, but yeah, I wish it would become Constitution carry here as well. Hey, thank you for being here, Rappy. I hope you have a fantastic day. J-Dog, ban gasoline and lighters. That way people can't burn Teslers. And that's, you know, that's an idea. That's an idea. Damn, assault lighters. What's up, Southern Eagleman? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Cheeky Chops? The assault cars. Yep, gotta regulate them. They'll get you. What's up, Too Real? Happy freedom to you. Take a couple puberty blockers. It'll help you calm down. Nah, I'm good. Whatever happens, happens. Guess holy. I don't know where you got this photo of me. Josh 1776, show you where the peephole is. Goodness. Alright, hooligans, we're going to get into the fun stuff here. Like I said, we're going to open today's door from the advent calendar that was sent to us by Wad. Then we're going to watch our 2 funny videos of the day. But before we do, I want to remind you hooligans really quick, if you would like to support the live to keep us running, you're welcome to use the Linktree link or any of the links in the description in order to send donations. You could do that by using PayPal, Cash App, Stripe, Locals, Buy Me a Coffee, or you can even send crypto. All right, let's see what we get today. It's so tempting to drink one of these, but I better not. What is today? Day 13, maybe? 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. Yeah, no, 13. Today is day 13. Look at this. It's because none of the doors are in order because it's all full of whiskey. Let me make sure. 3, 5, 10, 12. Today is day 13. Ooh, I'm gonna have to start writing it down. All right, let's see what we got today. Seaweed in eons and digging fire. I've never heard of a brand like that. That's something else. 10 years old, single malt Scotch whiskey. Look at that tan color. Oh, it looks so good. Might have to drink this tonight. We'll see. Thank you so much, Wad. I really appreciate you. Yes. Alright, hooligans, we're going to get into our funny videos of the day. Let me get this pulled up really quick. Did you guys see Klaus Daniels sneak up in here? He did it while President Trump was talking and you guys weren't looking. Alright, getting into our funny videos of the day. This first one's titled Death by Insults. Smoked her. And she signed up for it. She wanted that treatment. Alright, getting into our official funny video of the day. Yes, right here. This is titled Small Lives Matter.
Seems like nowadays you can protest about just about anything. Well, why don't I begin a protest about the fact that Disney decided to use CGI dwarfs? Not even the real thing. We could have gotten higher. We could have gotten money for something, but no. They're so ashamed of the CGI dwarfs. They don't even have it on the first flyer. Well, it's time to make a movement.
Now you wash the dishes. You tidy up the room.
Hire real dwarfs. Holy. Just when you thought Disney couldn't get any more racist. Anyways, that is all the coffee I had for you hooligans today. And drop that Linktree link in all of the chats. We're going to read through, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up next. Alright, hooligans, there is a Linktree link where all of my links are listed. So if you'd like to make donations, join membership programs, or purchase any merch, we'd really appreciate it. All of your guys' contributions keep us running every day except for Sunday, because we got to have a day to recharge those batteries. Definitely go join Discord. Discord is our free hooligan community. It's the best way to be notified every single time we go live. The hooligans are there keeping the conversation going 24/7, and we have 2 news boards to keep you up to date with everything going on around the world. So definitely go join Discord. If you're feeling real saucy, go join jeffmaclive.com. Over on the website, it is the best way to experience the live. Our built-in chat has more ability than any other platform. You can post memes and GIFs and custom emojis and links and all kinds of stuff right there while watching the live. You'll also have access to Hooligans Alley. You'll have access to the forums. You'll have access to the arcade. You will also have access to our advanced messaging system with the built-in group chats. So definitely go get yourself a membership for jeffmaclive.com. It's the home of the hooligans. Like I said, we're going to read through really quick, and we got the Pledge of Allegiance coming up next. What's up, Sam? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Breeze by you? Happy freedom to you. Jay Spray, the DEI dwarfs didn't work out. Yeah, I'm short lives matter, you know. Those little guys, they're little problems, big voices. Guess 1 out of every 7 dwarfs are always grumpy. That's right, guess that's just the way God made them. Lisa, he said they could have gone higher. Silverwolf, how many years have you been doing this? At the end of May, it'll be 5 years that we've been going live. Almost every day. Almost every day for 5 years. For the Texan, yeah, I'll check it out. Bill Clay, Snow White, 1.6 out of 10 on IMDb. I believe it. It looks like a disaster. Metal Mouth, that movie's tanked worse than AOC's political career. Give it time. Give it time, Metal Mouth. AOC she'll prove you wrong. It'll be even worse. Information Warlord, little people's lives matter. Free the Texan, Disney hates dwarves. Yep. See, it's not our fault. Should have never did that. That is them. That is their choices. Hey, thank you for being here, MU. Thank you, Appeal to Heaven. Hey, thank you for being here, Viola. And cheers to you. What's up, Hurley Girl? Happy freedom to you. What's up, Contempt? What's up, Jim? Happy freedom to you. Glad you made it, Jim. All right, hooligans. It's about that time. Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we did the thing. We're going to read through one last time just to make sure no hooligans are left behind, but we are wrapping this up. We'll be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the very next Coffee with Hooligans. We'll keep an eye out for Caroline Levitt in case she decides to do another press briefing. We'll also keep an eye on President Trump's public schedule. That way we can try and capture him while he's live. So definitely make sure you make your way back to us tomorrow, 3 p.m. Eastern time for Coffee with Hooligans. Like I said, we're going to read through real quick, and then we're wrapping this up. Guess that's hilarious. Jay Spray, it's a true story. They replaced the little people with CGI. That's so shit. Hey, thanks for being here. Appeal to Heaven. Metal Mouth, yeah, there is differences between watching the live on your phone or watching it on the TV app when you're using Rumble. People have been saying that for quite a while now. I haven't experienced it. I've never watched Rumble on a TV, but I guess usually the TV's a little bit behind. Thanks for being here, Dual Helix. Thank you, Pumpkin. You're the bestest. That's right, Nana. Play ball. Thank you, Matthew. Lone Wolf, don't you miss those Portland riots? No, I had my fill. It's when I see it now, I don't know. I just don't know what to think about it. It was different when we were sitting here locked in our house. We didn't know what was going to happen next, and the only people that were outside were Antifa. We were like sitting in such a position that it made it really entertaining. But really, I think a lot of people have gotten more of a fill of it than they realize, because when we do show protesters and they are being violent, everyone's like, why is anyone letting this happen? Like, it's just not as entertaining as it used to be. You're just watching assholes being assholes, and it just doesn't have the same feeling it used to. But I'm thinking it will be spicy this summer, and we'll see if we got another summer of love ahead of us. Thanks for being here, Meta. Thank you, Southern Eagleman. Happy freedom to you. Thanks for being here, Tony Rich. Appreciate you, Ghostly. Thanks for being here, Cheeky Chops. Thank you, Shark. Thank you, EFO. Appreciate you, Tony Rich. All right, Hooligans, it looks like we are good to go. Thank you, Cassie J. Thank you, Jay Spray. Like I said, we will be live again tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time for Coffee with Hooligans. We'll look for Caroline Leavitt in case we got another press briefing tomorrow. And we'll keep an eye on President Trump's public schedule just in case he's going live tomorrow. Definitely go enjoy the rest of your night. Go find yourself some good food, but be safe. Those crazies, they're still out there and they're angrier than ever. But definitely find your way back to us tomorrow. Huge shout out to everyone that made donations, joined the membership programs, or purchased any merch. I really appreciate all of you Hooligans, and I wouldn't be able to do any of this if it wasn't for you. So thank you so much for all your support, and I'll see you on the next live. Until then, stand tall, shine bright, and that's a wrap.